The fire has been burning for hours already, its glow steady and low, filling the wide stone room with warmth. A wooden spoon moves slowly through a pot that has not been lifted from the hearth since before sunrise. Somewhere nearby, bread rests beneath linen cloth, rising patiently, untouched by haste. Footsteps cross the worn floor, quiet and familiar, as if the stones themselves already know who is passing. Nothing here feels urgent. Nothing needs to be said aloud. The kitchen breathes in its own calm rhythm, wrapped in smoke, heat, and the quiet certainty that this work has been done this way for longer than anyone remembers. Hey, tonight we are going to drift gently backward through time. Just for a while, we'll step away from the present and slip into the quiet, unseen spaces of history, into the royal kitchens of centuries past, where daily meals were prepared slowly and carefully, not for spectacle, but for routine, nourishment, and tradition. We'll wander through warm, hearth-lit rooms, follow familiar hands as they work, and rest in the peaceful rhythm of ordinary life inside extraordinary places. And as the story unfolds, just a gentle reminder. If you're enjoying this so far, you're welcome to like the video and subscribe, only if it feels right. I always love seeing where you're listening from and what time it is for you, so feel free to share that in the comments. Now, stay right where you are. Let the room stay dim, let the background sounds fade in softly, and allow yourself to sink back into the story as it continues. The royal kitchens settle into their day long before the palace truly wakes. Beyond the thick stone walls, the early morning air is cool and pale, but inside, the hearths glow steadily, holding on to the night's warmth. These kitchens are not a single room, but a collection of wide spaces connected by low arches and heavy doors. Ceilings rise high above, darkened by years of smoke that has gently stained the beams. Iron hooks line the walls, each holding a tool worn smooth by countless hands. The first workers arrived while the sky was still dark. They moved quietly, lighting fires that had been carefully banked through the night, checking stores, rinsing vessels, preparing the space before the rest of the household stirred. There is comfort in this hour, when the world feels smaller, enclosed, predictable. Large wooden tables stand at the center of the room, their surfaces marked by faint cuts and softened edges. These tables have carried the weight of daily work for generations. Kneading, chopping, sorting, arranging, never rushed, never idle. In one corner, sacks of grain lean against the wall, their contents measured not by scale but by practiced hands. Nearby, barrels of salted meat wait patiently, sealed and cool. Baskets of root vegetables sit close to the floor, where the air remains colder, their earthy scent grounding the space. The head cook oversees everything with calm familiarity. This is not a figure of loud authority, but one of quiet assurance. Instructions are given softly, often with a nod or a gesture rather than words. Everyone knows what must be done. Everyone knows the order of the day. Breakfast for the royal household is modest, meant to sustain rather than impress. Broths are warmed slowly. Bread is baked fresh, its crust forming gently in the heat of the oven. Meat, when served, is simple, roasted or boiled, seasoned lightly, never overwhelming. Rich sauces and elaborate dishes are reserved for feast days, celebrations, moments meant to be remembered. Daily life prefers simplicity. As the fire crackles softly, the air fills with gentle scents, grain, wood smoke, herbs crushed between fingers. Steam rises in unhurried curls, drifting toward the beams before fading away. The sound of knives against wood follows a slow, steady rhythm, neither sharp nor sudden. Time moves differently here. There is no clock, no pressing urgency. The kitchen follows the language of heat and instinct. A stew is ready when it feels ready. Bread is turned by sight and smell. Water is added when the texture calls for it. Servants come and go quietly, carrying messages, fetching supplies, lifting lids to check progress. Their movements are smooth, practiced, almost graceful in their familiarity. Nothing is wasted. Scraps are set aside carefully, destined for later use, thickening soups, feeding animals, enriching stocks that will simmer long after today's meals are served. When the trays are finally assembled, they are arranged with care, though not extravagance. Covered dishes are lifted gently, balanced evenly. A small procession forms, moving out through stone corridors, disappearing toward dining chambers where the royal family will eat largely unaware of the steady labor behind their meal. Back in the kitchen, the rhythm continues. There is always more to prepare, more to tend, more to warm or cool or store away. The space never truly rests, but it never rushes either. It simply exists in balance. And as you imagine this place, the glow of firelight against stone, the quiet certainty of routine, the warmth that lingers even in the early hours, allow your thoughts to slow even further. Nothing here is loud. Nothing demands attention. The story moves forward gently, like the fire itself, steady and patient, carrying us deeper into the peaceful heart of everyday history. The day unfolds slowly inside the royal kitchens, guided not by urgency, but by habit. As morning settles fully over the palace, light begins to filter through narrow windows set high in the stone walls. The sunlight arrives softened and pale, touching the edges of tables and the rims of copper pots. Never harsh, never bright. Dust motes drift lazily through the air, moving only when someone passes by, then settling again into stillness. The breakfast dishes have long since left the kitchen, but the space does not empty. Instead, it reshapes itself for the next quiet phase of the day. Large cauldrons are rinsed and refilled. Fires are adjusted, some allowed to burn lower, others stoked just enough to maintain a gentle heat. There is a calm awareness of what will be needed hours from now. Lunch will come, and later supper, each requiring preparation long before the moment arrives. In one corner, a young kitchen helper peels vegetables with careful concentration. The motion is repetitive, soothing: peel, turn, peel again, the sound barely audible over the low murmur of the fire. Nearby, another worker sorts herbs, tying small bundles with twine, their fingers releasing quiet bursts of fragrance with every touch. These kitchens are places of apprenticeship as much as labor. Skills are passed down without formal lessons. A younger cook watches the older ones closely, absorbing knowledge through observation. How long to leave a pot unattended. How to judge the temperature of an oven by holding a hand near its opening. How to know when bread is ready without cutting into it. There is no written recipe for these things. They live in memory and muscle, passed from hand to hand over decades. As the morning progresses, deliveries arrive through side doors that open onto service yards. A cart brings fresh produce from nearby gardens, cabbages still damp with dew, apples with faint blemishes, bundles of greens tied loosely together. Everything is inspected carefully, not critically, but attentively. Freshness matters, but perfection does not. The royal kitchen values reliability above all else. Ingredients that can withstand storage, that can be transformed gently over time, are favored. Root vegetables, grains, salted meats, foods that mirror the steady rhythm of life itself are in the background. Someone hums softly while working. The tune is unremarkable, familiar, perhaps learned in childhood. It blends into the room rather than standing out, another layer of sound woven into the kitchen's quiet atmosphere. No one comments on it. No one needs to. By midday, the kitchen feels warm and lived in. The stone floors hold heat beneath worn rugs. The air carries a comforting heaviness, a mixture of steam, smoke, and food slowly becoming something more. Pots simmer patiently, their contents stirred from time to time, never left forgotten. Lunch is simpler than supper, but no less thoughtful. Slices of bread are warmed, not toasted too hard. Broths are ladled carefully, each bowl receiving the same measured portion. Meat, when served, is tender rather than rich, meant to sustain rather than impress. The trays leave again, carried down familiar corridors, leaving behind a brief lull. This is a gentle pause in the kitchen's day. Some sit briefly on low stools, sipping water, stretching fingers, sharing a quiet word. Others continue working, preparing elements for the evening meal, knowing that rest and labor flow together rather than existing separately. In the early afternoon, the light shifts. Sunbeams stretch longer across the floor, catching on metal surfaces and fading slowly as clouds pass overhead. Outside, the palace grounds hum faintly with life, footsteps, distant voices, the rustle of leaves. But inside the kitchen, the atmosphere remains contained, sheltered. This is where the heart of the household beats, steady and dependable. Royal kitchens are often vast, yet they feel intimate to those who work within them. Every corner is familiar. Every sound has meaning. The creak of a door signals a delivery. The hiss of steam means water is nearing boil. The crackle of wood tells of a fire well fed. Even mistakes are handled quietly. If a dish needs adjusting, it is done without drama. Pinch more salt. A longer simmer. Nothing is wasted if it can be saved. Food is respected here, not worshipped, but treated with calm appreciation. As afternoon leans toward evening, preparations grow slightly more deliberate. Supper carries greater importance. It is often the meal shared more formally, sometimes with guests, sometimes simply marking the close of the day. The kitchen responds not with haste, but with careful attention. Roasts are turned slowly. Sauces are warmed gently, stirred until smooth. Vegetables are arranged thoughtfully, colors muted but pleasing. Bread is sliced evenly, stacked neatly beneath cloth. The head cook moves through the space once more, offering quiet guidance, adjusting a fire here, lifting a lid there. Their presence brings reassurance rather than pressure. Everything is under control. When the final dishes are ready, the kitchen seems to exhale. Trays are assembled with the same care as always. Servants move out in measured steps, disappearing down corridors softened by torchlight. The kitchen remains behind, glowing warmly, its purpose fulfilled for another day. After supper is served, the pace slows again. Some fires are allowed to die down. Others are banked carefully, preserved for the night. Leftovers are stored, labeled by memory rather than mark. Utensils are cleaned, dried, returned to their hooks. The room gradually quiets. Voices fade. Footsteps grow fewer. The air cools just slightly, enough to feel refreshing after the day's warmth. The scent of cooked food lingers gently, never overpowering, like a memory that refuses to hurry away as night settles over the palace. The kitchen does not truly sleep. One or two remain behind, tending fires, preparing for the early hours to come. The cycle will begin again long before dawn, just as it always has. And as you rest with this image, the steady glow of embers, the familiar order of tools and tables, the sense of work completed without rush, allow your own thoughts to soften further. There is comfort in knowing that history is not only made of grand events, but of quiet rooms like this one. Places where life moved gently, predictably, sustained by hands that worked without needing to be remembered. The royal kitchens remain, breathing slowly in the dark, holding warmth, holding routine, holding the peaceful rhythm of days long past. And you can drift with them now, steady, calm, unhurried. As the fire settles into embers and the night stretches on, quiet and kind, night deepens around the palace, and the kitchens enter one of their quietest hours. The last echoes of the evening meal have faded down the corridors, and the heavy doors have been closed gently, not shut. Inside, the light is lower now, cast by a few steady flames and the soft glow of embers resting beneath ash. Shadows stretch along the stone walls, slow and untroubled, changing shape only when someone passes nearby. This is the hour of tending rather than creating. A pot left warming overnight is checked once more. A fire is adjusted carefully, not to burn bright, but to last. The motions are deliberate and unhurried, guided by long familiarity rather than instruction. Every action has been performed so many times before that it no longer requires conscious thought. The kitchens at night feel different. During the day, they hum with quiet activity, but now they feel almost like a place of rest themselves. A warm heart beating softly inside the larger body of the palace. The air is cooler, calmer, and the sense of softened, blending together into something gentle and reassuring. Somewhere beyond the walls, the world is dark and still. Inside, a single figure moves slowly from hearth to hearth, listening to the sound of the fire, watching the way the embers glow. There is comfort in this vigilance. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is forced. The night will pass as it always does. In the corner, sacks of grain sit undisturbed, their presence steady and familiar. Rows of hanging utensils catch the faintest light, their shapes recognizable even in shadow. Everything has its place. Everything waits patiently for morning. The floor beneath feels cool now, the heat of the day having risen and faded. The stone holds memory of footsteps, of labor, of countless quiet nights just like this one. As the hours move slowly forward, the kitchen slips into near silence. There is no need for conversation. Even the fires seem to understand, crackling only when necessary, settling back into themselves. Time stretches gently, measured by breath and glow rather than sound. Long before dawn, the cycle begins again. A door opens softly. Fresh air drifts in, cool and clean, brushing against the warmth held inside. Someone arrives early, as they always do, stepping into the familiar space with the calm assurance of routine. The embers are coaxed back to life. A small flame grows, steady and obedient. Water is poured into a pot, its surface still and reflective before heat touches it. The kitchen wakes not suddenly, but gradually, like a place stretching after rest. Morning returns. The light outside shifts from deep blue to pale gray. Inside, the kitchen gathers itself once more, ready to receive the day without complaint or excitement. Bread will be mixed again. Broth will simmer again. The same hands will perform the same motions, finding comfort in repetition. In royal kitchens, days do not need to be remembered individually. They blend together softly, one into the next, forming a continuous flow of care and consistency. No single meal stands apart unless a feast is declared. No single morning demands attention. This is life as it was lived most often. Steady, quiet, dependable. The workers arrive one by one, exchanging nods, familiar glances, unspoken understanding. The space fills again with gentle movement, the rhythm returning naturally, like a song resuming at exactly the right moment. The head cook takes their place, surveying the room not with authority, but with trust. Everything is as it should be. Outside, the palace stirs. Inside, the kitchen already knows what to do. And as you remain here, imagining this place, its warmth, its patience, its calm continuity, allow yourself to rest even more deeply. Let the steady repetition soothe your thoughts. Let the gentle order quiet whatever remains unsettled. The royal kitchens do not ask for attention. They simply continue. And in that quiet continuation, there is peace as the morning grows brighter. The kitchens settle fully into their familiar rhythm once again. Light filters in more confidently now, brushing against the edges of stone and wood, warming surfaces that have already felt the touch of fire. The air is fresh with the promise of another ordinary day, one that will unfold much like the countless days before it. Grain is poured into wide bowls, the soft sound of kernels meeting would echoing gently through the room. Water follows, added slowly, carefully, until the mixture feels just right beneath steady hands. Dough begins its quiet transformation, shaped not by urgency but by instinct. The motion is repetitive, almost hypnotic, and it brings with it a sense of grounding that has nothing to do with time or place. Nearby, a pot is placed back onto the hearth. It will warm slowly, taking on layers of flavor over hours rather than moments. No one hovers over it. Trust replaces impatience here. The kitchen seems to know its own pace. As the day progresses, more ingredients arrive from the surrounding lands. Milk carried in heavy vessels, still cool from early milking. Eggs collected carefully, cradled as they are set down. Herbs gathered fresh, their leaves vibrant even in the muted light of the room. Each delivery is received calmly, checked quietly, and incorporated without fuss. Nothing disrupts the steady flow. Everything becomes part of the larger pattern. Royal kitchens are places where the seasons are felt deeply. In colder months, the air is heavier with smoke and warmth, and meals grow heartier, built to sustain against chill and darkness. In warmer times, the doors stand open longer, allowing breezes to drift through, carrying scents from gardens and fields. Dishes become lighter, fresher, shaped by what the land offers rather than what tradition demands. Still, the structure remains. Meals are planned not on paper, but in memory. The head cook knows what stores are available, what must be used soon, what can wait. There is no excess, no unnecessary indulgence. Even in royal households, restraint governs the everyday. By midday, the kitchen hums softly once more. Knives work steadily. Pots murmur over low flames. Wooden spoons scrape gently along the bottoms of vessels, ensuring nothing clings or burns. The air feels alive but never overwhelming. The workers move around one another with ease, stepping aside without pause, handing tools without words. Their familiarity creates a quiet choreography, practiced and smooth, a dance shaped by years of shared space. Lunch is prepared and sent away again, leaving behind the steady continuation of work. Afterward, there is another brief lull. Some lean against the stone walls for a moment, feeling the cool seep through their clothing. Others sit, closing their eyes briefly, resting without fully stopping. The kitchen allows for this gentle ebb and flow. Outside, time passes almost unnoticed. Clouds drift, sunlight shifts. Somewhere, bells mark the hours, but inside these walls, the sound feels distant, less important than the feel of the fire or the scent of bread. As afternoon deepens, preparations for supper begin in earnest. This meal carries weight, not because it is extravagant, but because it closes the day. Care is taken in the smallest details. A roast is basted slowly, turned just enough to ensure even warmth. Vegetables are arranged thoughtfully, their colors softened by cooking, their edges tender. Sauces are stirred patiently, never allowed to boil too hard, never hurried. Seasoning is adjusted carefully, guided by taste rather than instruction. Everything is done with quiet confidence. The kitchen grows warmer, the air thicker with scent and steam. Yet there is no discomfort here, only familiarity. Windows are open slightly. Doors are propped just enough to let fresh air mix with heat. As dusk approaches, the light changes once more. Shadows stretch long across the floor. The glow of the hearth becomes more pronounced, filling the room with a gentle amber warmth. The outside world begins to dim, but inside, the kitchen feels steady and secure. Supper is assembled carefully, piece by piece. Dishes are placed on trays in a familiar order. Covers are set gently in place. Nothing clatters. Nothing breaks the calm. The procession forms once more, and the meal leaves the kitchen, traveling through halls that echo softly with footsteps. When the last tray disappears, the kitchen grows quieter. Fires are reduced. Pots are moved aside. Leftovers are stored with care. The space begins to release the day, exhaling slowly as work winds down. There is satisfaction here, but not pride. The work has been done as it always is, steadily, without spectacle. The kitchen does not seek recognition. It simply prepares to do it all again. As evening settles fully, and night begins to gather outside, the royal kitchens return to their softer rhythm. And as you remain here, imagining the warmth, the steady movement, the peaceful repetition, allow your own thoughts to follow the same gentle pattern. Nothing needs to change. Nothing needs to hurry. The story continues, quietly, like the fire itself. Glowing, steady, and endlessly calm. The night deepens, and the palace around the kitchens has grown still. Torches flicker faintly in the corridors beyond, casting long, soft shadows. But inside, the kitchens breathe in their own quiet way. The work of the day has been completed, yet the space never truly rests. Fires are banked carefully, embers glowing beneath ash like the heartbeat of the room itself. Pots, lids, and spoons are returned to their usual places, each item resting as though it remembers the rhythm of days long past. A lone figure moves slowly among the workstations, checking the fires and adjusting them for the night. The motions are familiar and unhurried. There is no hurry here, only gentle care. The sound of footsteps is soft against the stone floor, almost blending with the occasional pop of the embers. Even in this quiet hour, the kitchen feels alive, though in a calm and subdued way. In the cool corners of the room, sacks of grain and barrels of salted meat wait silently. Herbs, tied in small bundles, hang patiently from hooks, their fragrances muted now in the cool air. Everything has its place, and everything remains as it should. The space itself seems to inhale and exhale with a slow rhythm, like a deep, steady breath. Outside, the world is dark and hushed. Inside, the warmth of the hearth seems to gather and hold the room together, like a protective cocoon. Small details that might go unnoticed in the bustle of day, the subtle gleam of copper, the worn edges of wooden tables, the delicate curl of smoke rising from embers, take on a quiet significance in this stillness. There is a feeling here of continuity, of time stretching gently without beginning or end. Generations of hands have worked in this space, performing the same motions, feeling the same textures, listening to the same soft sounds. There is a wisdom in repetition, a gentle comfort in routine. And tonight, in this moment, it extends to you as well. Long before dawn, the first movements of the next day begin. A small fire is rekindled. Water is poured into a waiting pot, its surface smooth and reflective. The air fills again with the quiet stirrings of life returning. Dough may be kneaded, a stew slowly stirred, herbs crushed between fingers. Each task is done deliberately, rhythmically, a meditation of work that requires patience and attention but not urgency. In these kitchens, life is measured differently, not by minutes or hours, but by the slow unfolding of tasks, by the feel of flour through fingers, the gentle crackle of fire, the steady rise of bread. Nothing is hurried, nothing is wasted. There is no need for applause, only the satisfaction of a job completed well, quietly, day after day. As dawn approaches once more, the pale light begins to touch the stone walls. Dust motes rise slowly, illuminated for a brief moment, then settle again. The warmth of the fires meets the chill of early morning air. Everything begins to move gently, hands returning to familiar work, spoons stirring softly, water heating quietly. The kitchen awakens not suddenly, but gradually, in a way that feels both eternal and immediate. The rhythm of the royal kitchen continues, unbroken, comforting in its predictability. And as you imagine this space, its warmth, its quiet order, its timeless routine, allow yourself to sink deeper into relaxation. Each breath becomes slower, steadier, matching the gentle flow of life in this room long before our time. A place where the ordinary was made sacred through care, attention, and patience. Even as the day begins anew, the calm persists. The kitchens remain a world unto themselves, a haven of steady light and warmth, moving slowly, gracefully, deliberately through the hours. And in this gentle unfolding, your mind can drift, resting, following the steady, comforting rhythm of hands that have known these motions for centuries. As history itself flows softly into the present moment, the fire crackles one last time before it softens into glowing embers. The room exhales, and in that quiet, you too can release the weight of the day, letting yourself float into the same peaceful, unhurried rhythm that has guided these kitchens for generations. Time seems suspended here. Only warmth, only gentle motion, only quiet continuity remain. And with each breath, you sink further, carried along the soft flow of history, into a deep, untroubled rest. The royal kitchens are at peace, and now so are you. The morning begins again, but it arrives with a calmness that feels timeless. The first hint of light slips through high windows, brushing gently over stone walls that have felt centuries of quiet labor. Inside the royal kitchens, there is no rush, no abrupt awakening. Only a soft return to life, as if the room itself stretches and inhales slowly, greeting the day in measured, deliberate breaths. A small fire is coaxed back into brightness, its glow filling the hearth with a gentle warmth. The scent of wood smoke drifts lazily, mingling with the faint aroma of herbs dried long ago. Bowls and pots are brought out, cleaned, and arranged carefully. Each item has its place, known and remembered by the hands that will soon move among them. There is a quiet symmetry here, a rhythm that has repeated for countless mornings before this one. Dough is mixed gently, kneaded with slow, deliberate movements. The touch is practiced, reassuring. The dough responds predictably under attentive fingers, rising gradually as warmth penetrates its soft folds. There is no need for hurry. Time is measured not in minutes, but in the patient, observable changes of ingredients, in the quiet progress of simmering broths, in the steady glow of embers beneath the hearth. Elsewhere in the kitchen, a helper chops vegetables in a rhythm almost musical in its consistency. The soft tap of knife against wood blends with the hiss of a simmering pot, the occasional murmur of someone tasting a sauce, and the muted sigh of the room itself as it begins its work anew. The sensory world here is gentle and grounding. Sounds subdued, colors softened by the low, steady light, textures familiar and reassuring. The head cook moves through the space with measured steps, inspecting each station with calm attention. There is no urgency in their movements, only assurance, a knowledge that the day's tasks will unfold naturally if approached with care. Instructions, when offered, are soft and unhurried, more like suggestions than commands. Everyone knows their place and their role. The work continues seamlessly, like a slow, flowing river, steady and predictable. Outside, the palace grounds awaken in muted tones. Birds stir and call softly, wind brushes the leaves on distant trees, and sunlight begins to warm the courtyards. Inside, the kitchen remains a sanctuary of warmth and motion, the world beyond seeming distant and unobtrusive. Every action, from the careful addition of water to a simmering pot to the gentle folding of dough, carries with it centuries of practice. Every gesture perfected through repetition over generations. As the day unfolds, ingredients arrive from storerooms and nearby gardens. Bundles of greens still damp with morning dew, baskets of fruit, fresh milk, eggs carefully gathered. Each is handled with the same deliberate attention, examined and incorporated into preparations without haste. The rhythm is constant. Mix, stir, season, taste, repeat. The kitchen exists in this cycle, bound by neither clock nor calendar, only by the gentle passage of time as it unfolds naturally. Evening approaches and the cycle continues, but with a subtle shift. Fires burn a bit lower, their warmth steady yet contained. The air is richer with the aroma of foods slow-cooked to perfection, the mingling sense of bread, roasted meat, and herbs lingering like a gentle memory. Preparations for the evening meal are deliberate, each step thoughtful, each dish shaped by care rather than urgency. The movement of hands remains soft, fluid, almost like a quiet choreography performed without conscious thought. Trays are assembled with care, and servants carry them through dim corridors to the dining chambers. The room itself seems to pause once they depart, exhaling slowly after the work of the day. Embers glow faintly in the hearths. Surfaces cool slightly. The scent of cooking fades to a soft, comforting background note. And in this pause, there is space for stillness, a moment to notice the subtle patterns of daily life that go unnoticed by those who do not dwell here. Night deepens. The kitchen gradually quiets. Only a few remain, tending embers and checking preparations for the hours yet to come. The space feels alive, but in a gentle, subdued way. Shadows flicker on stone walls. Steam rises slowly from pots left to keep warm. The air carries a mix of warmth and faint lingering fragrance of the day's work. Everything is in its place. Everything waits patiently for morning. And as you imagine this quiet, enduring space, the warm glow of firelight, the familiar, comforting motions of hands long practiced, the gentle cadence of daily life, you too can let your body and mind follow the same rhythm. Each breath can match the steady pace of the kitchen. Each thought can soften, settle, and fade gently, like steam rising from a simmering pot, dissipating slowly into calm. Here, in this imagined space of centuries past, the ordinary work of a royal kitchen becomes extraordinary in its constancy. And as the night deepens further, you can rest with the knowledge that life, in its gentlest form, has always moved in rhythms like these, steady, patient, and endlessly kind. The kitchens breathe, the fires glow, and in that gentle, unwavering continuity, so can you. The night stretches long, wrapping the palace in its quiet embrace. Outside, the sky is dark, but inside the kitchens, warmth lingers like a soft, steady heartbeat. Embers glow faintly beneath the ash, casting a gentle amber light that dances slowly along stone walls. The faintest whisper of smoke rises, curling upward, in slow spirals before disappearing into the high, darkened beams. Everything here seems to breathe in time with the slow pulse of the fire. Even in this late hour, the space feels alive, though in the softest, most subdued way. A solitary figure moves among the hearths, tending to what must be tended. Adjusting embers, stirring a pot left to keep warm, gently handling tools and vessels. Each motion is deliberate and unhurried, performed with the calm certainty of hands that have done this many, many times before. The room seems almost suspended outside of time. The walls have held centuries of quiet work, and the air carries a sense of memory, of countless meals prepared, countless hands moving through the space, countless days that have passed without urgency or fanfare. Even the smallest details, the worn edges of a chopping block, the darkened corners of a cauldron, the curl of smoke rising, feel alive with history familiar and reassuring. Sacks of grain and barrels of preserved food wait patiently in their corners. Bundles of herbs hang from hooks, their fragrance faint but steady, mingling softly with the warmth of the hearth. Everything is where it should be. Everything is as it has always been. The quiet order brings a sense of calm that reaches even to those who are only imagining it. Long before dawn, the first gentle stirrings of the next day begin. A fire is rekindled, its warmth growing steadily. Water is poured into pots, the surface smooth and reflective before the heat touches it. Dough is kneaded, stirred, folded with a practiced patience that feels almost meditative. Herbs are crushed between fingers, releasing their quiet fragrance. Every motion flows naturally, guided by instinct, not urgency. In these kitchens, life is measured not by clocks or schedules, but by the slow, observable changes of the day. Bread rises, water boils, meat simmers. Time is felt in the warmth of a hearth, in the texture of ingredients, in the soft murmur of movement. Across stone floors, nothing is rushed, nothing is wasted. Every gesture has meaning, every motion has purpose, and the rhythm of work is both grounding and endlessly soothing. As the first pale light of morning slips through high windows, dust motes float lazily, illuminated briefly before settling again. The warmth of the fires meets the coolness of the dawn. The kitchen awakens gradually, not with noise, but with soft, deliberate motion. Wooden spoons stir pots. Dough rises quietly on tables. Water begins to simmer. The room stretches gently into another day, a space where continuity and care exist above all else. The rhythm of the royal kitchen is timeless. Day flows into night, night flows into day, and the cycle repeats in quiet assurance. Generations of hands have performed these motions, learning the subtle art of patience and precision. And in imagining this, you too can follow the same rhythm, slow, steady, and calm. Each breath can match the measured pace of work. Each heartbeat can align with the gentle flicker of firelight. Each thought can soften, slow, and fade, carried along by the soothing cadence of daily life long before our time. The kitchens remain, glowing softly, alive but calm, and in their steady continuity, there is rest. There is peace. There is the gentle certainty that, as long as care is given, the world can continue its slow, comforting rhythm. And here, in this quiet, you can rest with it, letting the warmth, the motion, and the unhurried passage of time carry you into deep, gentle sleep. The fires dim to embers once more. The stone walls hold warmth. The air is soft and still. And in that stillness, you can finally drift, weightless, carried by the calm, unending heartbeat of the royal kitchen. The morning returns once more, though it arrives with the same calm patience that has always defined these kitchens. The first rays of light filter through high, narrow windows, brushing gently across the stone walls, warming the surfaces that have held countless hands and tools before. The air feels fresh yet familiar, carrying faint scents of yesterday's herbs and bread, softened by the coolness of early hours. A fire is coaxed to life again, the embers brightening slowly, spreading warmth across the hearths. Water is poured into waiting pots, smooth and reflective, catching the soft light before heat rises and bubbles quietly. Dough rests in a bowl, ready for kneading, while herbs hang nearby, still fragrant, waiting to be crushed and folded into stews and broths. The rhythm of the room is gentle, unhurried, steady. Hands move with familiarity, practiced and calm. A young helper stirs a pot, the motion smooth, almost hypnotic, blending with the soft hum of the fire and the occasional scrape of a knife against wood. Each action is intentional, measured, yet never rushed. The kitchen itself seems to breathe alongside those who work within it, the motion of tasks and warmth of fires creating a quiet, continuous pulse. Throughout the day, ingredients arrive from storerooms and gardens, each handled with care. Root vegetables, fresh milk, eggs, grains. Everything is assessed quietly, placed carefully, and prepared without haste. The daily meals are neither elaborate nor ornate. They are simple, nourishing, and steady, shaped by habit and necessity rather than spectacle. Yet in their simplicity lies a profound attention to detail, a subtle reverence for the rhythm of life itself. The head cook moves slowly, guiding where necessary, observing rather than commanding. There is trust here. Everyone knows their role, their place, and the flow of tasks continues uninterrupted. Stews are stirred, dough folded, sauces tasted and adjusted, bread shaped and set aside. Each motion, each sound, each scent blends into the soft, constant cadence of the kitchen. As afternoon fades toward evening, preparations for the final meal of the day begin. Fires are stoked gently, not too high, not too low. Vegetables are trimmed and cooked slowly. Meats are basted with care, sauces stirred until smooth. The room is warm and thick with scent, comforting and familiar, yet never overwhelming. Trays are arranged carefully, the food lifted and carried through quiet corridors to the dining halls. The kitchen remains behind, its rhythm unbroken, readying for the next cycle. The fires burn down slowly, casting long shadows across stone floors, the air heavy with the lingering aromas of a day's labor. The space exhales, soft and content, as the last movements of work settle into calm. Night falls fully once again. The palace is silent. The kitchens, now almost entirely still, retain a quiet warmth. Embers glow faintly, and a soft hush pervades the room. Only a few remain, tending fires or checking preparations for the hours to come, moving with slow, steady care. Everything is as it should be, orderly and complete. And as darkness stretches across the palace, the kitchens hold their gentle vigil, steady and unhurried. The rhythm of the day, repeated endlessly across generations, continues quietly within these walls, a soft heartbeat that neither demands attention nor expects notice. And here, in the calm of your own space, you can rest alongside it. You can feel the steady flow of warmth, movement, and continuity, letting it carry you further into relaxation. Each breath can become as soft and deliberate as the hands that fold dough, stir stews, and tend fires in these ancient kitchens. The kitchens remain timeless and patient. The fires dim. The stone walls hold heat. The air is still and gentle. And in that stillness, you can drift further, weightless and serene, carried along by the quiet, enduring heartbeat of a world that has always moved with calm, careful attention. Sleep can settle in now, deep and untroubled, as the royal kitchens continue their gentle rhythm, steady, warm, and endlessly soothing. As the first hints of dawn return once more, the royal kitchens awaken gently, almost imperceptibly, as if stretching after a long, deep sleep. The light that filters through high windows is soft, pale, and forgiving, spilling slowly across the worn stone floors and catching the edges of copper pots and wooden tables. The air holds the faint warmth of last night's embers, mingling subtly with the earthy scent of stored vegetables and the lingering aroma of bread baked hours before. A fire is coaxed to life in one of the large hearths. The embers glow, warming the stones beneath, and soon the soft hiss of water meets the gentle crackle of flames. Dough, left to rest, is kneaded once again with careful, deliberate motions, the fingers working rhythmically, slowly, guided by instinct and experience. Herbs are crushed between palms, releasing tiny bursts of fragrance that drift lazily into the air. Each movement is measured, soft, and soothing, as if time itself has slowed to match the calm pace of the kitchen. The younger helpers move quietly among the workstations, chopping, stirring, and arranging without haste. Every gesture is practiced, fluid, familiar. Knives tap against wooden boards in a steady rhythm, soft enough to blend with the hum of the fire and the faint murmur of voices. The kitchen feels like a living, breathing organism, its heartbeat slow and regular, sustained by the gentle diligence of those within. Throughout the morning, ingredients arrive from storerooms and gardens. Baskets of greens, root vegetables still damp with dew, freshly gathered eggs, and milk carried from nearby dairies enter the space in quiet procession. Each is handled with care and incorporated into preparations with attention and patience. There is no rush. There is no clamor. Every step is deliberate, measured, and intentional, following the natural rhythm of the day. Bread is shaped and set aside to rise. Pots are stirred slowly, soups and stews blending flavors over time rather than heat. Meats are trimmed and seasoned with quiet care, knowing that they will be transformed gradually into nourishing meals. The room is rich with gentle scents, the faint sweetness of baking bread, the earthy aroma of vegetables, the subtle perfume of herbs. These details, so ordinary in their repetition, create a profound sense of calm and continuity. As afternoon draws near, the kitchen's pace remains steady. Workers move around each other with practiced ease, exchanging silent gestures and understanding glances. The head cook observes quietly, offering guidance only when necessary, moving through the space with a calm assurance that everything will proceed exactly as it should. The rhythm of work is unbroken, a continuous flow that has been repeated countless times, generation after generation. Evening arrives softly, bringing with it a subtle shift in light and temperature. Fires burn with a steady glow, their warmth comforting and contained. Preparations for the evening meal begin in earnest. Vegetables are trimmed and cooked slowly. Meats are basted and roasted with patient attention. Sauces are stirred until smooth, seasoned with care, and all elements are arranged thoughtfully. The room is warm and thick with scent, but it is never overwhelming. Trays are assembled carefully, food lifted with measured hands, and carried through quiet corridors to the dining halls. The kitchen remains behind, steady and ready for the next cycle. The last embers glow softly in the hearths. The air is filled with the gentle fragrance of meals long prepared and served. The space exhales, calm and content, settling into a quiet lull before the rhythm begins again. Night deepens. The palace grows silent. Only a few figures remain in the kitchen, tending fires and checking the preparations for hours yet to come. Shadows flicker along stone walls. Steam rises from pots left to keep warm. Everything holds its place, steady and ready. And as darkness stretches across the world outside, the kitchens hold their gentle vigil, patient and unhurried. Their rhythm, repeated over centuries, is quiet but constant, a soft heartbeat beneath the layers of palace life. And now, in this imagined place, you too can rest. You can breathe in time with the calm, deliberate movements of hands long practiced. You can feel the warmth, the motion, and the enduring rhythm of the kitchens, letting it carry you deeper into stillness. The fires dim to soft embers. The stone walls hold the day's heat. The air is still and comforting. And here, in the quiet glow of the royal kitchen, you can let yourself drift completely, weightless, calm, and at peace, carried along by the slow, gentle heartbeat of centuries past. The kitchens remain timeless and steady, and now, so can you. The morning returns gently once again, as if the day itself has no hurry to arrive. Light creeps softly through the high windows, brushing across the worn stone floors and copper pots, glimmering on the edges of wooden tables polished by decades of careful work. The air carries faint whispers of yesterday's bread, the soft scent of dried herbs, and the lingering warmth from embers that have been banked overnight. The kitchen feels alive in a quiet, enduring way, a space that breathes along with those who work within it. A fire is coaxed into gentle life, its glow spreading slowly across the hearth. Water begins to warm in a heavy pot, tiny bubbles rising with a soft hiss, blending seamlessly with the occasional crackle of embers. Dough is kneaded once more, the hands moving rhythmically, softly, guided by instinct and a patient understanding of the day ahead. Herbs are crushed and folded into waiting mixtures, their fragrance subtle yet comforting, a reminder of the simple, grounding pleasures of careful work. Young helpers move quietly around the room. One chops vegetables with gentle precision, the soft tap of the knife blending with the low murmur of a pot simmering over the fire. Another arranges ingredients on a long wooden table, each item placed exactly where it belongs, as though the space itself remembers the patterns of generations before. The rhythm is slow, deliberate, almost meditative, filling the room with a sense of calm continuity. The storerooms deliver their treasures, baskets of fresh vegetables, eggs, milk, grains, and preserved meats. Each is handled with care, examined, and set in place for use at the right moment. There is no urgency here, only patience. Every motion follows naturally from the last, creating a steady, unbroken flow that carries through the day. Bread is shaped and set to rise. Stews and broths simmer gently over the hearth, absorbing flavors slowly and deeply, never rushed. Meat is trimmed, seasoned, and cooked with careful attention, allowing time to transform it into something tender and nourishing. The room is rich with subtle aromas, the earthy scent of vegetables, the faint sweetness of rising dough, the delicate perfume of herbs, soothing, grounding, and unhurried. As the afternoon stretches forward, the head cook moves quietly among the workstations, checking each task with calm assurance. Instructions are given softly, gestures exchanged silently. Everyone knows their role. Everyone knows the pace of the day. There is no clamor, no rush, only the gentle, steady rhythm of hands that have moved through this space for generations. Evening approaches. The fires burn steadily, warming the kitchen and softening the shadows along the stone walls. Preparations for the evening meal begin. Vegetables are trimmed and cooked with care, sauces are stirred slowly until smooth, and meats are basted and roasted with patient attention. Everything is done deliberately, without haste, creating a gentle sense of order and completeness. Trays are assembled, each dish placed with care. Servants carry them quietly through the corridors to the dining halls, leaving the kitchen behind to its patient, enduring rhythm. The space exhales softly, the warmth lingering, the air heavy with comforting scents that speak of care, attention, and continuity. Night falls once more. The palace is hushed. Only a few remain in the kitchens, tending embers and checking the remaining preparations. Shadows flicker softly, steam rises slowly from pots left to keep warm, and every object rests in its familiar place. The room is steady, calm, timeless. And here, in this imagined space, you too can settle. You can match your breathing to the slow, measured movements of hands that knead dough, stir stews, and tend fires with patience and care. You can feel the warmth, the motion, the gentle rhythm of the day, and allow it to carry you further into relaxation. The embers glow softly, the stone walls hold warmth, the air is still and gentle, and in that enduring calm, you can drift fully, weightless and serene, carried by the timeless heartbeat of the royal kitchen. The kitchens remain steady and patient, and now, so can you. The first hints of dawn begin to stretch across the palace once more, soft and pale, brushing gently against the stone walls of the royal kitchens. The world outside is quiet, still, holding its breath, while inside, the hearths glow faintly, their embers radiating warmth that has been tended patiently through the night. The air is calm, filled with a faint, comforting mixture of lingering smoke, dried herbs, and the subtle, welcoming scent of bread yet to rise. A fire is coaxed gently into life, the flames licking slowly at the edges of the hearth, sending gentle warmth across the stone floor. Water warms in a heavy pot, bubbling softly as it meets the gentle heat. Dough, resting from the previous day's preparation, is kneaded carefully, each fold deliberate, rhythmic, soothing. The hands that move through this space know the pace intimately. They need no instructions, only the quiet guidance of habit and experience. Elsewhere in the kitchen, vegetables are trimmed, roots peeled, and herbs crushed with a soft pressure that releases their fragrance delicately into the room. Each movement is precise yet gentle, forming a quiet choreography that blends seamlessly with the ambient sounds of simmering pots and the soft crackle of the hearth. There is a calm continuity here, a sense of time flowing slowly, as though each moment were an extension of the last. Ingredients arrive steadily from storerooms and gardens. Baskets of leafy greens, root vegetables damp with dew, fresh eggs, and milk are set carefully upon tables. The air is filled with the soft, earthy sense of life from the surrounding lands. Each item is handled thoughtfully, incorporated into preparations with care, adding quietly to the day's unfolding rhythm. Nothing is rushed. Everything follows naturally from what came before, a slow, deliberate passage from one moment to the next. Bread is shaped and left to rise by the window where the first light softens its edges. Broths simmer over low heat, their flavors developing gently over time, blending into a comforting, layered aroma. Meat is prepared with steady hands, seasoned simply, cooked slowly, transformed through patience rather than haste. Every element of the day's labor contributes to a calm, harmonious whole, a rhythm that has endured through countless generations. As midday approaches, the kitchen hums softly. Helpers move with careful attention, their movements fluid, deliberate, and almost musical in repetition. Knives tap against boards in a muted rhythm, wooden spoons scrape gently against pots, and the occasional low murmur of voices blends seamlessly into the ambient sounds of work. Each gesture feels natural, almost instinctual, part of the gentle pulse that gives the room its enduring sense of peace. The head cook moves among the stations with quiet authority, guiding where necessary, observing where appropriate. There is trust in these motions. Everyone understands their role, and the day continues seamlessly. Each stew stirred, each loaf shaped, each pot tended contributes to the rhythm of the place. Nothing is forced, nothing is hurried. The continuity itself becomes comforting, a reminder that life can be simple, deliberate, and profoundly satisfying. Afternoon fades into evening. Fires burn steadily, their warmth both soothing and sustaining. The preparations for the evening meal unfold with care. Vegetables are cooked slowly, sauces are stirred until perfectly smooth, meats are basted and roasted with measured attention. Each movement carries intention, patience, and quiet pride, though no one would speak of it. The food is prepared for sustenance, for continuity, and for the subtle grace of a day concluded properly. Trays are assembled with attention, not rush, and carried through silent corridors to the dining halls. The kitchen, now nearly empty, feels spacious, warm, and quietly alive. The last embers glow beneath the ash, casting faint shadows across walls and floors. Steam rises from lingering pots, carrying with it the faint scent of herbs, bread, and cooked vegetables, a reminder of the day's steady labor and quiet care. Night settles over the palace. Only a few figures remain in the kitchen, tending fires or checking the remaining preparations for the hours yet to come. The room holds its breath. Shadows stretch slowly, the glow of embers softens, and every utensil and surface rests in its familiar place. The space feels timeless, enduring, and calm, a sanctuary shaped by centuries of steady, patient work. And as you rest in this quiet, imagined world, allow yourself to match its rhythm. Breathe slowly and deliberately, as though each inhalation and exhalation mirrors the steady flow of hands tending dough, stirring stews, and coaxing warmth. The quiet and the gentle, unbroken rhythm of this room carry you deeper into relaxation, as though you too are part of this calm, enduring continuity. The fires dim to embers, the stone walls hold warmth, and the kitchen breathes gently in the dark. And here, in this stillness, you can drift fully, weightless and serene, carried by the quiet, unhurried heartbeat of the royal kitchen, letting sleep settle softly around you as the night stretches on. The royal kitchens rest in a gentle, lingering warmth. Outside, the palace is silent, cloaked in darkness, but inside, the faint glow of embers and the soft scent of bread, herbs, and cooked vegetables remind the space that it is alive, though in a quiet, subdued way. The stone walls retain the heat of the day. The wooden tables and boards remember countless hands that have worked across them, and even the tools, worn smooth with time, seem to hum softly with memory. A lone figure moves slowly among the hearths, tending the last fires with gentle care. Each motion is deliberate, fluid, and familiar. A pot left warm through the night is stirred softly, its contents shifting in slow, calming ripples. Dough rests nearby, soft and yielding, ready to be kneaded again at the first light. The air carries a faint warmth, comforting, steady, and unhurried. Even in the stillness, the kitchen breathes. The flicker of embers casts gentle shadows across the walls and ceiling beams, the movement subtle and mesmerizing. Steam curls faintly from a pot, rising in lazy spirals, disappearing before it reaches the rafters. Every element, the scent of herbs, the quiet crackle of embers, the smooth surfaces of worn wood blends together, creating an atmosphere of calm and continuity. Before dawn, the first subtle movements of the day begin. A small fire is nurtured back to life, the heat spreading slowly through the hearth. Water warms quietly in a heavy pot. Dough is folded gently, kneaded with deliberate care, and herbs are crushed between fingers to release their soft, familiar aroma. Each movement is steady, intentional, almost meditative. There is no rush, no urgency, only the quiet, persistent rhythm of the kitchen. The young helpers arrive soon after, moving through the space with soft, familiar motions. One chops vegetables, the tap of the knife against wood blending into the muted hum of simmering pots. Another arranges ingredients with care, placing each item exactly where it belongs. The rhythm of work is unbroken, flowing naturally from one task to the next. The kitchen is alive, but in a calm, patient way, full of continuity and quiet purpose. Bread is shaped once more, rising slowly in the gentle warmth of the hearth. Broths and stews simmer, their flavors deepening with time. Meat is trimmed, seasoned, and cooked with patience, transformed gradually into nourishing meals. The air is rich with subtle aromas, comforting and soothing, a reminder of the simple pleasures of careful, attentive work. As the morning unfolds, the rhythm of the kitchen carries steadily forward. The head cook moves through the space with quiet authority, observing, guiding softly, and ensuring that each task follows naturally from the next. There is no hurry, no clamor, only a gentle, continuous flow of activity. The kitchen itself seems to breathe in harmony with its workers, every sound and movement contributing to a peaceful, steady pulse. Afternoon moves in its own soft way. Fires are stoked gently, soups and stews stirred slowly, vegetables trimmed and cooked with care. The cycle of preparation and patience continues, unbroken and enduring. The air is warm, infused with the subtle fragrances of food, herbs, and wood smoke. Everything is in its place, moving naturally, guided by the quiet rhythm of tradition. As evening approaches, preparations for the final meal of the day begin. Trays are assembled with care, food arranged thoughtfully, and the servants carry them quietly through corridors to the dining halls. The kitchen remains behind, steady, calm, and ready to repeat the cycle once more. The fires burn down slowly, embers glowing faintly beneath ash. Steam rises softly from remaining pots, and the gentle warmth lingers throughout the room. Night falls fully. Only a few figures remain, tending the fires, checking the last preparations, moving with soft, deliberate steps. Shadows stretch along the stone walls, the air thick with the faint fragrance of a day well tended. Everything is calm, everything is in place, and the rhythm of the day has been honored. And now, as you rest with this image in your mind, you too can settle into its rhythm. Match your breathing to the calm, measured movements of hands that knead, stir, and tend fires. Feel the warmth, the continuity, and the gentle, unbroken flow of time. Let it carry you deeper into relaxation, into stillness, and into sleep. The kitchens remain timeless, patient, and enduring. The embers glow softly, the stone walls hold warmth, the air is still, and here, in this gentle calm, you can drift completely weightless, serene, and at peace, carried along by the quiet, steady heartbeat of the royal kitchen. The first soft light of morning begins to touch the palace once more, pale and diffused, brushing gently against the stone walls of the royal kitchens. Even before the day fully awakens, the space seems to stretch and inhale, a slow, deliberate awakening that has been repeated for generations. The air is faintly warm, carrying the subtle fragrance of yesterday's bread, lingering herbs, and the gentle, comforting scent of embers cooled only slightly by the night. A fire is coaxed gently to life. The glow spreads slowly across the hearth, warming the surrounding stones. Water begins to heat quietly in a heavy pot, tiny bubbles forming at the edges before drifting back into stillness. Dough is folded and kneaded with practiced care, hands moving in a familiar rhythm that soothes as much as it accomplishes. Herbs are crushed and released into waiting mixtures, their fragrance soft but grounding, adding another gentle layer to the quiet atmosphere of the room. Young helpers move about quietly, each step deliberate. One chops vegetables with soft, precise motions, the gentle tap of the knife against the board blending seamlessly with the low murmur of a simmering pot. Another arranges ingredients, placing them thoughtfully on the wide wooden table, each item exactly where it belongs. The rhythm of work is steady and fluid, like a slow, calm river flowing through the space, unbroken and timeless. Ingredients arrive from storerooms and gardens, baskets of fresh greens, root vegetables still damp from early morning dew, eggs, milk, and grains. Each is handled carefully, examined with attention, and placed where it will be used at the perfect moment. There is no rush, no clamor, only the natural, deliberate unfolding of tasks as they have been performed for countless mornings. Bread is shaped once more and left to rise near the window, touched by the soft glow of morning light. Stews and broths simmer quietly, their flavors deepening gradually, developing in their own time. Meat is trimmed, seasoned simply, and cooked slowly, transformed into nourishment through patience and careful attention. The room is filled with a comforting blend of aromas, each gentle and familiar, weaving together to create a cocoon of warmth and calm. As midday approaches, the rhythm of the kitchen carries steadily forward. The head cook moves quietly among the stations, observing, guiding softly, intervening only when necessary. Everyone knows their role, and the day unfolds without disruption, each motion flowing naturally into the next. Knives tap against boards, spoons stir pots, and pots murmur over. Gentle flames, creating a layered, soothing symphony of quiet activity. Afternoon drifts into evening. Fires burn steadily, filling the room with gentle warmth, while stews, sauces, and roasts continue their slow, careful transformations. Vegetables are trimmed and cooked with attention, flavors blending and deepening. Yet the pace remains calm, deliberate, patient. The air is filled with subtle aromas that comfort and ground, the quiet pulse of routine providing a gentle reassurance. Preparations for the evening meal begin in earnest. Trays are assembled with care, each dish placed thoughtfully, every utensil returned to its proper place. Servants carry the trays quietly through stone corridors to the dining halls. The kitchen remains behind, steady, calm, and ready to begin again. The embers glow softly beneath the ash, casting a warm, gentle light across walls and tables. Steam rises lazily from the last remaining pots, carrying faint, soothing fragrances into the air. Night deepens fully. Only a few figures linger in the kitchen, moving slowly, tending fires or checking the last preparations. Shadows stretch along the walls. The air is thick with the lingering scent of the day's meals, and everything is exactly where it belongs. The room feels timeless, suspended in calm continuity. And now, as you rest in this imagined space, let yourself move with the rhythm of the kitchens. Let your breathing align with the gentle flow of hands that knead, stir, and tend fires. Let the warmth and the quiet repetition carry you further into calm and stillness, as though you are part of the slow, steady heartbeat of this space. The fires dim further, embers glowing faintly, the stone walls holding warmth. The air is still, soft, and steady. And here, in the quiet, you can drift fully, weightless and serene, wrapped in the gentle, unbroken rhythm of the royal kitchens. The night stretches quietly across the palace, soft and uninterrupted. Outside, the world sleeps, cloaked in darkness, while inside the royal kitchens, the gentle warmth of the hearths persists. Embers glow faintly beneath ash, casting slow-moving shadows across the worn stone walls. The faint scent of bread, herbs, and simmering stews lingers in the air, subtle and comforting, like a memory of the day's work that refuses to leave. A single figure moves quietly among the hearths, tending the last fires with care. Each gesture is deliberate, fluid, and calm. A pot is stirred softly, the contents shifting in slow, soothing ripples. Dough rests nearby, soft and yielding, ready to be shaped again when morning arrives. The kitchen feels alive, though in a muted, patient way, carrying centuries of routine and gentle repetition in every corner. The room itself seems to breathe. The flicker of embers plays across stone walls and rafters, shadows curling slowly, almost lazily. Steam rises from the remaining pots in quiet spirals, vanishing softly into the cool night air. Every surface, every tool, every corner of the kitchen is familiar and comforting, a witness to countless days and countless hands moving in quiet harmony. Long before dawn, the first subtle signs of activity begin. A small fire is rekindled, flames brightening gently in the hearth. Water warms quietly in heavy pots, the surface reflecting the soft glow. Dough is kneaded once more, each fold and press slow and deliberate, each motion blending seamlessly with the rhythm of the space. Herbs are crushed between fingers, their fragrance releasing softly, floating lazily through the air. Young helpers arrive, their steps soft on the stone floor. One chops vegetables with a gentle, measured rhythm. The sound blends with the quiet murmur of simmering pots, Another arranges ingredients thoughtfully on a wooden table, placing each item exactly where it belongs. The entire space moves as one, a slow, continuous flow, effortless yet deliberate, comforting in its steadiness. Bread is shaped and left near the window to rise, touched by the pale morning light. Stews and broths simmer gently, developing flavor over time. Meat is trimmed, seasoned, and cooked patiently, transformed by slow attention into nourishing meals. The scents in the room mingle quietly, earthy, warm, subtle, soothing. They wrap around the senses like a soft, comforting blanket, grounding and familiar. As the day unfolds, the head cook moves among the stations, observing, guiding softly, intervening only when needed. Everyone knows their tasks, and the work flows naturally, uninterrupted. The rhythm is steady and unhurried. Knives tap, wooden spoons scrape gently against pots, liquids murmur as they heat. There is no rush, no clamor, only a slow, gentle pulse that defines the day in the kitchens. Evening approaches, bringing a subtle change in light and temperature. Fires glow steadily, warming the room and softening the shadows along the walls. Preparations for supper begin in earnest. Vegetables are cooked slowly, sauces stirred until smooth, meats basted carefully and roasted patiently. Every motion is thoughtful, precise, and deliberate. The kitchen hums quietly with calm activity, steady, patient, and unbroken. Trays are assembled with care. Each dish is arranged gently, every utensil returned to its proper place. Servants carry the food through quiet corridors to the dining halls. The kitchen remains behind, warm and steady, ready to begin again when the cycle starts anew. Embers glow faintly beneath ash. Steam rises from the last remaining pots, carrying the gentle scent of herbs and cooked meals. Night deepens. Only a few remain in the kitchen, tending embers and checking remaining preparations. Shadows stretch across the walls. The air holds the lingering warmth and scent of the day's labors. Everything is in its place. Everything is exactly as it should be. The kitchen, patient and enduring, feels timeless. And now, as you rest with this image in your mind, allow your breathing to match the slow rhythm of the kitchen. Feel the gentle warmth, the quiet repetition, the steady pulse of activity carried out with patience and care. Let it lull you deeper into stillness. The fires soften to glowing embers, the stone walls hold warmth, and the air is still. And in this quiet, comforting space, you can drift fully, weightless and serene, carried along by the unhurried, timeless heartbeat of the royal kitchens. The first hints of dawn stretch across the palace once again, soft and gentle, brushing lightly against the high windows of the royal kitchens. The air is calm, carrying the faint, comforting sense of yesterday's bread, lingering herbs, and the subtle warmth from embers banked through the night. The space seems to inhale slowly, stretching, awakening at a deliberate pace that has been followed for generations. A small fire is coaxed back into steady life, its glow spreading warmth across the hearth and stone floor. Water begins to heat quietly in heavy pots, tiny bubbles forming at the edges before settling back into calm stillness. Dough, rested and pliant, is kneaded once more with slow, rhythmic motions. Hands move with practiced certainty, guided by familiarity rather than instruction, folding and pressing with care. Herbs are gently crushed between fingers, releasing delicate fragrances that drift through the warm air, subtle and grounding. Young helpers arrive quietly, their steps soft against the stone floor. One chops vegetables in a gentle, consistent rhythm, the tap of the knife blending into the soft hum of simmering pots. Another arranges ingredients carefully on the wide wooden tables, each item placed exactly where it belongs. The motions are deliberate, almost meditative, forming a quiet, continuous rhythm that fills the room with calm energy. Steam rises lazily from remaining pots, and the air is filled with the gentle fragrance of care and continuity. Night deepens fully. Only a few figures linger, tending the last embers, checking pots left to keep warm. Shadows stretch along the walls. The warmth of the day lingers in the stones. Everything is exactly where it should be. The kitchen is timeless, steady, patient. And now, as you rest in this imagined space, let your breathing match the calm rhythm of the kitchen. Allow the slow, deliberate movements of hands kneading, stirring, and tending fires to lull your mind into quiet. Feel the warmth, the steady pulse, and the comforting continuity, letting it carry you deeper into stillness and sleep. The fires dim to embers. The stone walls hold their heat. The air is still and soft. And here, in the gentle, unbroken rhythm of the royal kitchens, you can drift fully into serenity, weightless, calm, and at peace. The first hints of dawn stretch softly over the palace once again, pale and delicate, brushing against the high windows of the royal kitchens. The stone walls, still warm from the night's embers, seem to hold their breath, welcoming the new day in quiet, measured anticipation. The air is calm, carrying the lingering sense of bread, herbs, and simmering stews, subtle and comforting, like a gentle reminder of the life that has unfolded within these walls for generations. A small fire is coaxed gently to life. Its glow spreads slowly across the hearth, warming the surrounding stone and wooden surfaces. Water begins to heat quietly in a heavy pot, tiny bubbles rising gently before settling. Dough, rested overnight, is kneaded with soft, rhythmic motions, the hands moving with practiced ease, guided by knowledge handed down through countless days. Herbs are crushed softly between fingers, releasing their delicate fragrances into the air, filling the room with a subtle, calming aroma. Young helpers enter quietly, their footsteps soft against the stone floor. One chops vegetables with steady, gentle precision, the muted tap of the knife blending seamlessly with the low hum of simmering pots. Another arranges ingredients carefully on the wooden tables, each item placed exactly where it belongs. Every gesture flows naturally into the next, forming a slow, deliberate rhythm, a quiet choreography that brings harmony to the space. Ingredients arrive from storerooms and gardens, baskets of leafy greens still glistening with morning dew, root vegetables, eggs, milk, and grains. Each is handled thoughtfully, examined, and incorporated into preparations at just the right moment. There is no rush, no clamor, only the steady, patient pace of work, the same rhythm that has repeated for centuries. Bread is shaped and left near the window to rise, catching the soft, early light. Stews and broths simmer over gentle flames, flavors deepening gradually. Meat is trimmed, seasoned, and cooked slowly, transformed with patient care into nourishing meals. The room is rich with subtle aromas, the earthy scent of vegetables, the faint sweetness of bread, the soft perfume of herbs. Each scent blends effortlessly, creating an atmosphere that is calming, grounded, and safe. As morning drifts toward midday, the kitchen hums softly with activity. The head cook moves among the stations with quiet authority, observing, guiding, intervening only when needed. Everyone knows their roles, and the day unfolds seamlessly. Knives tap, wooden spoons scrape, pots murmur over gentle flames. The rhythm of the kitchen is steady, reassuring, a slow pulse that carries the space and those within it forward without urgency. Afternoon deepens, fires burn steadily, the air carrying the mingling aromas of roasting meats, simmering stews, and gently cooked vegetables. Preparations for the evening meal begin. Sauces are stirred slowly, vegetables tended carefully, meats basted and watched with patient attention. Every motion is intentional, calm, and deliberate, forming a gentle, unbroken flow of activity. Trays are assembled with care. Each dish is arranged thoughtfully. Servants carry them quietly through the stone corridors to the dining halls, leaving the kitchen behind in quiet readiness for the next cycle. Embers glow faintly beneath ash, steam rises softly from remaining pots, and the air is filled with the lingering fragrance of the day's labor. Night settles over the palace. Only a few figures remain, tending embers and checking pots left to keep warm. Shadows stretch along the stone walls. The warmth of the day lingers, and every tool, pot, and surface is in its familiar place. The kitchen, patient and enduring, feels timeless. And as you rest within this imagined world, allow yourself to follow its rhythm. Match your breath to the slow, deliberate pace of hands kneading, stirring, and tending fires. Feel the warmth, the gentle pulse, and the comforting, steady continuity that has endured through countless days. Let it carry you deeper into calm, stillness, and the soft embrace of sleep. The embers glow softly, the stone walls hold warmth, the air is still and gentle, And here, in the timeless, patient rhythm of the royal kitchens, you can drift fully into serenity, weightless, calm, and at peace. The first light of morning begins once again to filter softly through the tall windows of the royal kitchens, pale and forgiving. The stone walls, warmed by the embers of the night, seem to exhale slowly, welcoming the new day. The air is calm, carrying faint traces of herbs, bread, and the gentle warmth of the fire, a comforting reminder of the life that has quietly moved through this space for countless generations. A small fire is rekindled, its glow spreading steadily across the hearth. Water warms quietly in heavy pots, tiny bubbles rising and subsiding in slow, peaceful rhythm. Dough rests nearby, soft and pliant, waiting to be shaped, kneaded, and folded once again. Hands move deliberately, guided by familiarity and experience rather than instruction, pressing and folding with a comforting rhythm. Herbs are crushed gently, their fragrance rising subtly, filling the air with calm, grounding scents. Young helpers arrive quietly, stepping softly across the stone floor. One chops vegetables in slow, measured motions, the gentle tap of knife on board blending seamlessly with the low murmur of simmering pots. Another arranges ingredients carefully on wide wooden tables, each item placed precisely where it belongs. Each movement flows naturally into the next, forming a quiet rhythm, a gentle dance of familiarity and patience. Baskets of fresh ingredients arrive from storerooms and gardens. Leafy greens glisten with dew, root vegetables are soft and earthy, eggs are carried carefully, milk gently poured, grains transferred thoughtfully. Each item is handled with care and incorporated into preparations at just the right moment. There is no hurry, no urgency. Everything follows the unbroken rhythm of the day, practiced for generations and repeated without stress or distraction. Bread is shaped and left to rise, catching the soft glow of the early morning light. Stews and broths simmer gently over the fire, developing depth of flavor over time. Meat is trimmed, seasoned, and cooked slowly, transformed with attention into nourishing meals. The kitchen is filled with subtle aromas, earthy, warm, and delicate, blending together to create an atmosphere of calm, comfort, and security. As morning stretches into midday, the kitchen hums softly with steady, continuous activity. The head cook moves quietly among the workstations, observing, guiding with gentle gestures, intervening only when needed. Knives tap rhythmically on wooden boards, spoons scrape gently against pots, liquids murmur over low flames. The rhythm is slow, steady, and reassuring, carrying the day forward in a natural, deliberate flow. Afternoon drifts in, warm and golden. Fires burn steadily, the air thick with the gentle aromas of cooking. Roasted meats, simmering stews, vegetables softening in butter and broth. Preparations for the evening meal begin carefully. Sauces stirred slowly, vegetables tended thoughtfully, meat basted with patient attention. The entire kitchen moves together like a single organism, alive with calm, measured energy. Trays are assembled methodically, each dish arranged with care. Servants carry them silently through stone corridors to the dining halls, while the kitchen remains behind, calm and ready for the next cycle. Embers glow faintly beneath ash, steam rises lazily from remaining pots, and the lingering scents of herbs, bread, and cooked vegetables fill the room. Night deepens fully. Only a few figures linger, tending fires and checking the last pots. Shadows stretch along the walls, the warmth of the day lingering in stone and wood. Everything is in place. Everything is exactly where it belongs. The kitchen feels timeless, patient, and steady, as it has for centuries. And now, as you rest in this imagined space, let your own breathing align with the gentle rhythm of the kitchen. Each breath can follow the steady, deliberate pace of hands kneading dough, stirring pots, and tending fires. Feel the warmth, the continuity, and the calm pulse of the day's work, allowing it to carry you deeper into stillness and relaxation. The embers glow faintly, the stone walls hold their heat, the air is still and soft. And here, in this quiet, enduring rhythm of the royal kitchens, you can drift fully into serenity, weightless, calm, and at peace, embraced by centuries of gentle, unhurried routine. The morning light stretches slowly across the palace once again, soft and diffused, touching the tall windows of the royal kitchens with a gentle glow. The stone walls, warmed by embers banked through the night, seem to exhale softly, as if welcoming the new day in quiet, deliberate breaths. The air is calm, infused with the lingering sense of baked bread, dried herbs, and faint traces of yesterday's stews, a comforting reminder of the steady rhythm of life that unfolds within these walls. A fire is coaxed gently to life, flames rising softly to warm the hearth and the surrounding stone. Water begins to heat in heavy pots, small bubbles forming and fading in a slow, meditative rhythm. Dough, soft and supple from resting overnight, is kneaded carefully, each fold and press deliberate, a quiet dance of hands that have performed these motions countless times. Herbs are crushed gently, releasing their subtle fragrance into the warm, still air, grounding the space with familiar, calming scents. Young helpers move quietly among the workstations, their steps soft against the stone floor. One chops vegetables in a slow, steady rhythm, the gentle tap of knife on board blending seamlessly with the low hum of simmering pots. Another arranges ingredients thoughtfully on wide wooden tables, placing each item exactly where it belongs. Every movement flows naturally into the next, forming a soft, continuous rhythm that fills the room with quiet energy, patient and unhurried. From storerooms and gardens, ingredients arrive in careful succession. Leafy greens glisten with dew, root vegetables are earthy and firm, eggs are handled gently, milk poured carefully, grains measured thoughtfully. Each is attended to with care, incorporated at just the right moment, contributing to the slow, deliberate unfolding of the day. There is no rush, no urgency, only the gentle, persistent rhythm that has guided these kitchens for generations. Bread is shaped and set to rise, touched by the soft glow of morning light. Stews and broths simmer over low flames, developing rich, layered flavors in their own time. Meat is trimmed, seasoned, and cooked patiently, transformed through careful attention into nourishing, comforting meals. The room is filled with a subtle, harmonious blend of aromas, the earthy scent of vegetables, the faint sweetness of rising dough, the soft fragrance of herbs. Each scent contributes to an atmosphere of calm, grounding, and gentle reassurance. As morning stretches toward midday, the kitchen hums softly with steady, continuous activity. The head cook moves quietly among the stations, observing, guiding softly, intervening only when necessary. Knives tap, spoons scrape, liquids murmur over flames, and each motion flows seamlessly into the next. The rhythm is slow, unhurried, and steady, carrying the day forward in a natural, deliberate pulse that comforts and soothes. Afternoon drifts in with a soft glow. Fires burn steadily, filling the room with warmth, while the gentle aromas of roasted meats, simmering stews, and tender vegetables mingle in the air. Preparations for the evening meal unfold methodically. Sauces stirred with care, vegetables attended to patiently, meats basted and watched with thoughtful attention. Every movement is deliberate, measured, and calming, contributing to the unbroken rhythm of the kitchen. Trays are assembled with care, each dish placed thoughtfully, every utensil returned to its proper place. Servants carry the meals quietly through the stone corridors to the dining halls, leaving the kitchen behind, steady and ready for the next cycle. Embers glow faintly beneath ash, steam rises lazily from the last remaining pots, and the lingering scents of herbs, bread, and cooked vegetables fill the air, comforting and familiar. Night deepens. Only a few remain, tending fires and checking pots left to keep warm. Shadows stretch slowly along the walls, the warmth of the day lingering in stone and wood. Everything is exactly as it should be. The kitchen, patient and enduring, feels timeless, steady, and serene. And now, as you rest in this imagined space, let your breath follow the rhythm of the kitchen. Inhale slowly, exhale gently, in time with the soft movements of hands kneading dough, stirring pots and tending fires. Feel the warmth, the gentle pulse, and the enduring calm that surrounds the space, allowing it to carry you deeper into stillness, relaxation, and sleep. The embers glow softly, the stone walls retain the heat, the air is still and quiet, and here, in the steady, timeless rhythm of the royal kitchens, you can drift completely into serenity, weightless, calm, and at peace, embraced by centuries of gentle, unhurried continuity. The early morning light begins to creep slowly across the palace once more, soft and pale, brushing over the high windows of the royal kitchens. The stone walls, warmed from the night's embers, seem to exhale quietly, welcoming the new day with a calm, deliberate patience. The air is still, carrying faint, comforting traces of herbs, freshly baked bread, and the lingering warmth of yesterday's cooking. A gentle reminder of the steady rhythm that has flowed through the space for generations. A small fire is coaxed to life, its flames rising slowly, spreading warmth across the hearth and surrounding stone. Water begins to heat quietly in heavy pots, tiny bubbles forming and dissolving in a soothing, measured rhythm. Dough, soft and pliant from resting, is kneaded gently, each fold deliberate, each press careful, a quiet repetition perfected through years of practice. Herbs are crushed softly between fingers, releasing subtle fragrances that drift lazily through the warm air, grounding the space and those who occupy it. Young helpers move through the kitchen with quiet grace. One chops vegetables with steady, gentle motions, the soft tap of knife on wood blending seamlessly with the low hum of simmering pots. Another arranges ingredients thoughtfully on wide wooden tables, each item placed exactly where it belongs. Every movement flows into the next, forming a continuous, unhurried rhythm that fills the room with calm energy. From storerooms and gardens, fresh ingredients arrive slowly and carefully. Leafy greens glistening with dew, earthy root vegetables, eggs handled with gentle precision, milk poured smoothly, and grains measured with attention. Each item is treated thoughtfully and incorporated into the day's preparations at the perfect moment. There is no hurry, no urgency. Only the steady, patient rhythm that has guided the kitchens for centuries. Bread is shaped and left to rise near the window, absorbing the soft morning light. Stews and broths simmer gently over the fire, their flavors developing gradually, becoming rich and deep with time. Meat is trimmed, seasoned, and cooked slowly, transformed through careful attention into nourishing, comforting meals. The air is filled with subtle, soothing aromas. The earthy scent of vegetables, the faint sweetness of rising bread, the soft perfume of herbs. Each scent contributes to the serene, grounding atmosphere of the room. As the morning passes toward midday, the kitchen hums quietly with continuous, gentle activity. The head cook moves among the stations with calm assurance, observing, guiding softly, intervening only when needed. Knives tap lightly, spoons scrape gently against pots, liquids murmur over low flames, and every motion flows naturally into the next. The rhythm of the kitchen is slow, unhurried, and steady, carrying the day forward with a reassuring pulse that calms the mind and soothes the senses. Afternoon stretches lazily across the palace. Fires burn steadily, filling the room with warmth while subtle aromas of roasting meats, simmering stews, and tender vegetables mingle in the air. Preparations for the evening meal begin. Sauces stirred slowly, vegetables attended with care, meat basted patiently. Each action is deliberate and calming, contributing to the gentle, unbroken rhythm of the kitchen. Trays are assembled methodically, each dish placed thoughtfully. Servants carry the meals quietly through stone corridors to the dining halls. The kitchen remains behind, calm and steady, ready for the next cycle. Embers glow faintly beneath ash, steam rises lazily from the remaining pots, and the lingering scents of herbs, bread, and cooked vegetables fill the air, comforting and familiar. Night falls fully. Only a few figures linger, tending the last embers, checking pots left to keep warm. Shadows stretch across the walls. The warmth of the day remains in stone and wood. Everything is exactly as it should be. The kitchen, patient and enduring, feels timeless, steady, and serene. And now, as you rest in this imagined space, allow your breathing to follow the gentle rhythm of the kitchen. Inhale slowly, exhale softly, in time with the measured movements of hands kneading dough, stirring pots, and tending fires. Feel the warmth, the steady pulse, and the enduring calm surrounding you, letting it carry you deeper into stillness, into relaxation, into sleep. The embers glow softly, the stone walls hold warmth, the air is still and gentle. And here, in the timeless, patient rhythm of the royal kitchens, you can drift completely into serenity, weightless, calm, and embraced by centuries of gentle, unhurried continuity. The first pale light of morning creeps softly across the palace, brushing gently over the high windows of the royal kitchens. The stone walls, still warm from the embers banked overnight, seem to breathe slowly, welcoming the new day with calm patience. The air is quiet, carrying faint, comforting traces of baked bread, dried herbs, and the lingering warmth of yesterday's simmering stews, a gentle reminder of the steady, enduring rhythm that has moved through this space for generations. A small fire is coaxed to life in the hearth, its flames rising slowly, spreading warmth across the surrounding stones and wooden surfaces. Water begins to heat quietly in heavy pots, small bubbles forming and fading in a soothing, measured rhythm. Dough rests nearby, soft and pliant, kneaded with deliberate care, each fold and press flowing naturally from the last. Herbs are crushed gently, their subtle fragrance rising and mingling with the warmth, grounding the room and all who move within it. Young helpers enter quietly, their steps soft against the stone floors. One chops vegetables with a slow, steady rhythm, the gentle tap of the knife on the board blending seamlessly with the low hum of simmering pots. Another arranges ingredients on wide wooden tables with care, placing each item exactly where it belongs. Each gesture flows naturally into the next, forming a quiet, continuous rhythm that fills the kitchen with calm energy, patient and unhurried. Baskets of fresh ingredients arrive from storerooms and gardens. Leafy greens still glistening with dew, earthy root vegetables, eggs handled gently, milk poured with care, grains measured thoughtfully. Each is incorporated at just the right moment, contributing to the slow, deliberate unfolding of the day's work. There is no rush, no urgency, only the quiet, persistent rhythm that has guided these kitchens for generations. Bread is shaped and left to rise by the window, catching the soft morning light. Stews and broths simmer, gently, flavors deepening slowly over time. Meat is trimmed, seasoned, and cooked patiently, transformed through careful attention into nourishing meals. The room is filled with subtle aromas, earthy vegetables, faintly sweet bread, the soft perfume of herbs, all blending together to create a cocoon of calm, comforting familiarity. As morning drifts toward midday, the kitchen hums softly with steady, continuous activity. The head cook moves quietly among the stations, observing, guiding softly, intervening only when necessary. Knives tap lightly, spoons scrape gently against pots, liquids murmur over low flames, each motion flowing seamlessly into the next. The rhythm of the kitchen is steady, unhurried, and reassuring, carrying the day forward in a gentle, natural pulse. Afternoon stretches slowly, fires burn steadily, the air warm with subtle aromas of roasting meats, simmering stews, and tender vegetables. Preparations for the evening meal proceed deliberately. Sauces stirred slowly, vegetables tended with care, meats basted patiently. Every movement is intentional and calm, contributing to the quiet, unbroken rhythm of the kitchen. Trays are assembled with attention and care, each dish placed thoughtfully. Servants carry the meals quietly through the stone corridors to the dining halls, leaving the kitchen behind, steady and ready for the next cycle. Embers glow faintly beneath ash, steam rises lazily from remaining pots, and the lingering scents of herbs, bread, and cooked vegetables fill the space, comforting and familiar. Night deepens fully. Only a few figures remain, tending embers and checking the last pots left to keep warm. Shadows stretch slowly along the walls, the warmth of the day lingering in stone and wood. Everything is exactly where it belongs. The kitchen, patient and enduring, feels timeless, steady, and serene. And now, as you rest in this imagined space, allow your breathing to follow the gentle, measured rhythm of the kitchen. Inhale, slowly, exhale softly, in time with the quiet movements of hands kneading dough, stirring pots, and tending fires. Feel the warmth, the steady pulse, and the comforting continuity surrounding you, letting it carry you deeper into stillness, relaxation, and sleep. The embers glow softly, the stone walls hold warmth, the air is still and gentle, and here, in the patient, unhurried rhythm of the royal kitchens, you can drift completely into serenity, weightless, calm, and embraced by centuries of quiet, Enduring care, the first soft light of dawn begins to stretch across the palace once more, brushing gently against the high windows of the royal kitchens. The stone walls, warmed by embers banked through the night, seem to breathe slowly, welcoming the new day with calm patience. The air is still, filled with faint, comforting scents of baked bread, herbs, and the lingering warmth of stews that have cooled slowly overnight. A gentle reminder of the continuity that has shaped this space for generations. A small fire is coaxed gently into life. The flames rise softly, spreading warmth across the hearth and the surrounding stones. Water begins to heat quietly in heavy pots, small bubbles forming and fading in a soothing, measured rhythm. Dough, rested overnight, is kneaded carefully, each fold deliberate and rhythmic. Hands move with the quiet assurance of long practice, pressing, folding, and shaping with ease. Herbs are crushed softly between fingers, releasing delicate aromas that drift through the warm, still air, comforting and grounding. Young helpers move through the kitchen in calm, quiet motion. One chops vegetables with a steady, gentle rhythm, the soft tap of knife against board blending seamlessly with the low hum of simmering pots. Another arranges ingredients carefully on wide wooden tables, each item placed thoughtfully in its proper place. Every gesture flows naturally into the next, forming a continuous, unhurried rhythm that fills the space with patient energy, steady and soothing. From storerooms and gardens, fresh ingredients arrive in quiet succession. Leafy greens glistening with dew, earthy root vegetables, eggs handled carefully, milk poured gently, grains measured with care. Each item is attended to and incorporated at just the right moment, becoming part of the slow, deliberate unfolding of the day. There is no rush, no urgency, only the calm, persistent rhythm that has guided these kitchens for centuries. Bread is shaped and left to rise near the window, touched by the soft glow of early morning light. Stews and broths simmer gently, their flavors developing slowly, deepening with time. Meat is trimmed, seasoned, and cooked patiently, transformed through careful attention into nourishing, comforting meals. The room is rich with subtle aromas, the earthy scent of vegetables, the faint sweetness of rising bread, the delicate perfume of herbs. Each scent weaves together, creating a cocoon of calm, comfort, and familiarity. As morning stretches toward midday, the kitchen hums softly with steady, continuous activity. The head cook moves quietly among the stations, observing, guiding softly, intervening only when needed. Knives tap lightly, wooden spoons scrape against pots, liquids murmur over low flames, and each motion flows seamlessly into the next. The rhythm of the kitchen is unhurried and steady, carrying the day forward in a gentle, reassuring pulse. Afternoon drifts in with soft warmth. Fires burn steadily, filling the room with gentle heat, while aromas of roasting meats, simmering stews, and tender vegetables mingle subtly in the air. Preparations for the evening meal proceed with calm deliberation. Sauces stirred slowly, vegetables tended with care, meats basted patiently. Every movement contributes to the unbroken rhythm of the kitchen, deliberate, soothing, and harmonious. Trays are assembled thoughtfully, each dish placed with care. Servants carry them quietly through the stone corridors to the dining halls, while the kitchen remains behind, calm and ready for the next cycle. Embers glow faintly beneath ash, steam rises lazily from remaining pots, and the lingering scents of herbs, bread, and cooked vegetables fill the room, comforting and familiar. Night deepens fully. Only a few figures linger, tending the last embers, checking pots left to keep warm. Shadows stretch slowly along the walls. The warmth of the day lingers in the stone and wood. Everything is exactly where it belongs. The kitchen, patient and enduring, feels timeless, steady, and serene. And now, as you rest in this imagined space, allow your breathing to align with the gentle rhythm of the kitchen. Inhale slowly, exhale softly, in time with the movements of hands kneading dough, stirring pots, and tending fires. Feel the warmth, the calm pulse, and the quiet continuity that surrounds you, carrying you deeper into stillness, relaxation, and sleep. The embers glow softly. The stone walls hold their warmth. The air is still and gentle. And here, in the patient, unhurried rhythm of the royal kitchens, You can drift fully into serenity, weightless, calm, and embraced by centuries of quiet, enduring care. The morning returns quietly, the first pale light slipping gently through the tall windows of the royal kitchens. The stone walls, still warm from embers banked overnight, seem to breathe softly, welcoming the new day with calm patience. The air is still and comforting, carrying the faint sense of bread baked the day before, herbs dried and crushed, and the lingering warmth of stews simmered slowly, a gentle reminder of the steady, enduring rhythm that fills these walls. A small fire is coaxed into life, flames rising softly and spreading warmth across the hearth and surrounding stones. Water begins to heat quietly in heavy pots, tiny bubbles forming and settling in a slow, soothing rhythm. Dough, rested overnight, is kneaded. Gently, each fold deliberate and rhythmic, hands moving with quiet confidence and practiced ease. Herbs are crushed softly, releasing subtle fragrances that mingle in the warm air, calming and grounding. Young helpers move quietly across the stone floor, their steps soft and careful. One chops vegetables in measured, gentle motions, the tap of the knife blending seamlessly with the hum of simmering pots. Another arranges ingredients on wide wooden tables, placing each item thoughtfully, each gesture flowing naturally into the next. The space moves with a quiet, continuous rhythm, steady and soothing, a slow pulse that fills the room. Baskets of fresh ingredients arrive from storerooms and gardens. Leafy greens glistening with dew, root vegetables earthy and firm, eggs handled carefully, milk poured smoothly, grains measured thoughtfully. Each item is incorporated at the right moment, becoming part of the deliberate unfolding of the day. There is no rush, no urgency, only the patient, enduring rhythm that has shaped this kitchen for generations. Bread is shaped and set to rise near the window, touched by the soft glow of morning light. Stews and broths simmer gently, flavors deepening gradually over the hours. Meat is trimmed, seasoned, and cooked slowly, transformed through careful attention into nourishing meals. The room is filled with a gentle harmony of aromas, the earthy scent of vegetables, the faint sweetness of bread, the delicate perfume of herbs, blending into a cocoon of calm and familiarity. As the morning stretches toward midday, the kitchen hums softly with steady activity. The head cook moves quietly among the workstations, observing, guiding softly, intervening only when needed. Knives tap lightly, wooden spoons scrape gently against pots, liquids murmur over low flames. Every motion flows seamlessly into the next, unhurried and steady, carrying the day forward in a gentle, reassuring pulse. Afternoon drifts in like soft gold light. Fires burn, steadily, filling the room with warmth, while subtle aromas of roasting meats, simmering stews, and tender vegetables mingle in the air. Preparations for the evening meal proceed deliberately. Sauces stirred slowly, vegetables tended patiently, meats basted with gentle attention. Each action contributes to the unbroken rhythm of the kitchen, deliberate, soothing, and harmonious. Trays are assembled thoughtfully, each dish placed with care. Servants carry them quietly through the stone corridors to the dining halls, leaving the kitchen behind, calm and ready for the next cycle. Embers glow faintly beneath ash, steam rises softly from the remaining pots, and the lingering scents of herbs, bread, and cooked vegetables fill the air, comforting and familiar. Night falls fully. Only a few figures linger, tending the last embers, checking the final pots. Shadows stretch along the walls. The warmth of the day remains in stone and wood. Everything is exactly as it should be. The kitchen, patient and enduring, feels timeless, steady, and serene. And now, as you rest in this imagined space, allow your breathing to follow the gentle rhythm of the kitchen. Inhale slowly, exhale softly, in time with hands kneading dough, stirring pots, and tending fires. Feel the warmth, the steady pulse, the comforting continuity surrounding you, carrying you deeper into stillness, relaxation, and sleep. The embers glow softly. The stone walls hold their warmth. The air is still and gentle. And here, in the patient, unhurried rhythm of the royal kitchens, you can drift fully into serenity, weightless, calm, and embraced by centuries of quiet, enduring care. The first hints of dawn stretch slowly across the palace once more, pale and gentle, brushing softly over the high windows of the royal kitchens. The stone walls, warmed by embers banked overnight, seem to exhale quietly, welcoming the new day with calm patience. The air is still, infused with subtle, comforting scents, the faint sweetness of bread, the earthy aroma of herbs, the lingering warmth of stews simmered slowly through the night. A quiet reminder of the enduring rhythm that has carried these kitchens through countless days and generations. A small fire is coaxed to life in the hearth, flames rising gently, spreading warmth across the stones and wooden surfaces. Water begins to heat in heavy pots, tiny bubbles forming and dissolving in a slow, soothing rhythm. Dough, soft and pliant from resting overnight, is kneaded carefully, each fold and press deliberate, hands moving with quiet ease and practiced familiarity. Herbs are crushed gently, releasing delicate fragrances that mingle with the warmth in the air, grounding the room and all who work within it. Young helpers move quietly through the kitchen, their steps soft against the stone floor. One chops vegetables in steady, gentle motions, the tap of knife on board blending seamlessly with the low murmur of simmering pots. Another arranges ingredients thoughtfully on wide wooden tables, each item placed exactly where it belongs. Every gesture flows naturally into the next, forming a continuous, unhurried rhythm that fills the space with calm energy, steady and soothing. Baskets of fresh ingredients arrive from storerooms and gardens. Leafy greens glistening with dew, earthy root vegetables, eggs handled carefully, milk poured smoothly, grains measured with attention. Each is incorporated at the precise moment, becoming part of the deliberate unfolding of the day. There is no rush, no urgency, only the steady, patient rhythm that has guided these kitchens for generations. Bread is shaped and set to rise near the window, absorbing the soft morning light. Stews and broths simmer gently, developing rich, layered flavors over time. Meat is trimmed, seasoned, and cooked slowly, transformed with patient attention into nourishing meals. The room is filled with subtle, harmonious aromas. Earthy vegetables, faintly sweet bread, soft, herbaceous notes. Each scent blends seamlessly, creating a cocoon of calm, comfort, and quiet familiarity. As morning stretches toward midday, the kitchen hums softly with steady, continuous activity. The head cook moves quietly among the workstations, observing, guiding with gentle gestures, intervening only when necessary. Knives tap lightly, wooden spoons scrape softly against pots, liquids murmur over low flames, each motion flowing naturally into the next. The rhythm of the kitchen is unhurried, deliberate, and steady, carrying the day forward in a gentle, reassuring pulse. Afternoon drifts in, suffused with soft light. Fires burn steadily, filling the room with warmth, while the subtle aromas of roasting meats, simmering stews, and tender vegetables mingle quietly. Preparations for the evening meal proceed methodically. Sauces stirred slowly, vegetables tended patiently, meats basted with careful attention. Every movement contributes to the unbroken rhythm of the kitchen, deliberate, soothing, and harmonious. Trays are assembled thoughtfully, each dish placed with care. Servants carry the meals quietly through the stone corridors to the dining halls, leaving the kitchen behind, calm and ready for the next cycle. Embers glow faintly beneath ash, steam rises lazily from the remaining pots, and the lingering scents of herbs, bread, and cooked vegetables fill the air, comforting and familiar. Night settles fully over the palace. Only a few figures linger, tending the last embers, checking the final pots. Shadows stretch along the walls. The warmth of the day lingers in stone and wood. Everything is exactly as it should be. The kitchen, patient and enduring, feels timeless, steady, and serene. And now, as you rest in this imagined space, allow your breathing to match the gentle rhythm of the kitchen. Inhale slowly, exhale softly, in time with the quiet motions of hands kneading dough, stirring pots, and tending fires. Feel the warmth, the steady pulse, and the comforting continuity surrounding you, carrying you deeper into stillness, relaxation, and sleep. The embers glow softly, the stone walls hold warmth, the air is still and gentle. And here, in the unhurried, timeless rhythm of the royal kitchens, you can drift completely into serenity, weightless, calm, and embraced by centuries of quiet, enduring care. The pale morning light stretches slowly across the palace once more, soft and forgiving, brushing against the tall windows of the royal kitchens. The stone walls, still holding the warmth of embers banked overnight, seem to exhale quietly, welcoming the day with calm patience. The air is still, carrying the subtle, comforting sense of yesterday's bread, dried herbs, and the lingering warmth of stews simmered gently through the night, a reminder of the steady rhythm that has sustained these kitchens for generations. A small fire is coaxed to life, flames rising softly, spreading warmth across the hearth and surrounding stone. Water begins to heat quietly in heavy pots, tiny bubbles forming and dissolving in a slow, soothing rhythm. Dough, rested overnight, is kneaded gently, each fold and press deliberate, hands moving with quiet confidence. Herbs are crushed softly, releasing subtle fragrances that float through the warm air, grounding the room and those moving within it. Young helpers enter quietly, their steps soft against the stone floor. One chops vegetables in slow, measured motions, the gentle tap of the knife blending seamlessly with the hum of simmering pots. Another arranges ingredients thoughtfully on wide wooden tables, each item placed exactly where it belongs. Each gesture flows naturally into the next, forming a continuous, unhurried rhythm that fills the kitchen with calm, patient energy. Baskets of fresh ingredients arrive from storerooms and gardens. Leafy greens glistening with dew, earthy root vegetables, eggs handled gently, milk poured smoothly, grains measured carefully. Each is incorporated at the right moment, becoming part of the slow, deliberate unfolding of the day. There is no rush, no urgency, only the patient, enduring rhythm that has guided these kitchens for centuries. Bread is shaped and left to rise near the window, absorbing the soft morning light. Stews and broths simmer gently, developing rich, layered flavors over time. Meat is trimmed, seasoned, and cooked slowly, transformed through patient attention into nourishing meals. The room is filled with subtle, harmonious aromas. Earthy vegetables, the faint sweetness of rising bread, the delicate perfume of herbs. Each scent weaves seamlessly together, creating a cocoon of calm, comfort, and familiarity. As morning stretches toward midday, the kitchen hums softly with steady activity. The head cook moves quietly among the stations, observing, guiding gently, intervening only when needed. Knives tap lightly, wooden spoons scrape softly against pots. Liquids murmur over low flames. Every motion flows naturally into the next, unhurried and deliberate, carrying the day forward in a gentle, reassuring pulse. Afternoon drifts in like soft gold light. Fires burn steadily, filling the room with warmth, while the subtle aromas of roasting meats, simmering stews, and tender vegetables mingle quietly. Preparations for the evening meal proceed with careful attention. Sauces stirred slowly, vegetables tended patiently, meats basted gently. Each movement contributes to the unbroken rhythm of the kitchen, deliberate, soothing, and harmonious. Trays are assembled thoughtfully, each dish placed with care. Servants carry them quietly through the stone corridors to the dining halls, leaving the kitchen behind, calm and ready for the next cycle. Embers glow faintly beneath ash, steam rises lazily from remaining pots, and the lingering sense of herbs, bread, and cooked vegetables fill the air, comforting and familiar. Night deepens fully. Only a few figures remain, tending the last embers, checking the final pots left. To keep warm, shadows stretch along the walls, the warmth of the day lingering in stone and wood. Everything is exactly where it belongs. The kitchen, patient and enduring, feels timeless, steady, and serene. And now, as you rest in this imagined space, allow your breathing to follow the gentle rhythm of the kitchen. Inhale slowly, exhale softly, in time with the quiet motions of hands kneading dough, stirring pots, and tending fires. Feel the warmth, the steady pulse, and the comforting continuity surrounding you, carrying you deeper into stillness, relaxation, and sleep. The embers glow softly, the stone walls hold warmth, the air is still and gentle, and here, in the unhurried, timeless rhythm of the royal kitchens, you can drift fully into serenity, weightless, calm, and embraced by centuries of quiet, enduring care. The first light of dawn stretches slowly across the palace once again, pale and soft, brushing over the tall windows of the royal kitchens. The stone walls, still holding the warmth from embers banked overnight, seem to breathe gently, welcoming the new day with calm patience. The air is still, infused with faint, comforting scents. The lingering sweetness of bread, the earthy aroma of herbs, and the soft warmth of stews that rested through the night. A quiet reminder of the rhythm that has filled these kitchens for generations. A small fire is coaxed to life, flames rising gently, spreading warmth across the hearth and surrounding stone. Water begins to heat quietly in heavy pots, tiny bubbles forming and disappearing in a slow, soothing rhythm. Dough, soft and pliant from resting overnight, is kneaded carefully, each fold and press deliberate, hands moving with quiet, practiced ease. Herbs are crushed softly between fingers, releasing their delicate fragrance into the warm air, calming and grounding all who move within the space. Young helpers arrive quietly, their steps soft on the stone floor. One chops vegetables in steady, measured motions, the gentle tap of the knife blending seamlessly with the hum of simmering pots. Another arranges ingredients on wide wooden tables, placing each item thoughtfully, each gesture flowing naturally into the next. The kitchen moves in a quiet, continuous rhythm, steady and soothing, like a gentle river flowing through the space. Baskets of fresh ingredients arrive from storerooms and gardens. Leafy greens glistening with dew, earthy root vegetables, eggs handled carefully, milk poured smoothly, grains measured with attention. Each item is incorporated at just the right moment, becoming part of the slow, deliberate unfolding of the day. There is no rush, no urgency. Only the patient, enduring rhythm that has guided these kitchens for generations. Bread is shaped and left to rise near the window, touched by the soft morning light. Stews and broths simmer gently, flavors deepening slowly over the hours. Meat is trimmed, seasoned, and cooked patiently, transformed through careful attention into nourishing, comforting meals. The room is filled with subtle, harmonious aromas. Earthy vegetables, faintly sweet bread, the delicate perfume of herbs. Each scent blends seamlessly, creating a cocoon of calm, comfort, and quiet familiarity. As morning stretches toward midday, the kitchen hums softly with steady activity. The head cook moves quietly among the stations, observing, guiding softly, intervening only when needed. Knives tap lightly, wooden spoons scrape gently against pots, liquids murmur over low flames. Every motion flows seamlessly into the next, unhurried and deliberate, carrying the day forward in a gentle, reassuring pulse. Afternoon drifts in, warm and soft. Fires burn steadily, filling the room with gentle heat, while the subtle aromas of roasting meats, simmering stews, and tender vegetables mingle quietly in the air. Preparations for the evening. Meal proceed methodically. Sauces stirred slowly, vegetables tended patiently, meats basted gently and carefully. Each movement contributes to the unbroken rhythm of the kitchen, deliberate, soothing, and harmonious. Trays are assembled thoughtfully, each dish placed with care. Servants carry them quietly through the stone corridors to the dining halls, leaving the kitchen behind, calm and ready for the next cycle. Embers glow faintly beneath ash, steam rises lazily from the remaining pots, and the lingering scents of herbs, bread, and cooked vegetables fill the air, comforting and familiar. Night deepens fully. Only a few figures remain, tending the last embers, checking the final pots. Shadows stretch slowly along the walls. The warmth of the day lingers in stone and wood. Everything is exactly where it belongs. The kitchen, patient and enduring, feels timeless, steady, and serene. And now, as you rest in this imagined space, allow your breathing to follow the gentle rhythm of the kitchen. Inhale slowly, exhale softly, in time with the quiet motions of hands kneading dough, stirring pots, and tending fires. Feel the warmth, the steady pulse, and the comforting continuity surrounding you, carrying you deeper into stillness, relaxation, and sleep. The embers glow softly. The stone walls hold warmth. The air is still and gentle. And here, in the unhurried, timeless rhythm of the royal kitchens, you can drift completely into serenity, weightless, calm, and embraced by centuries of quiet, enduring care. The soft light of morning begins its slow journey across the palace once again, spilling pale, gentle rays through the tall windows of the royal kitchens. The stone walls, still warm from embers banked overnight, seem to exhale softly, welcoming the new day with quiet patience. The air is still, carrying subtle, comforting scents. The faint sweetness of bread, the earthy aroma of herbs, and the lingering warmth of stews that have rested through the night, a gentle reminder of the calm, enduring rhythm that has moved through these kitchens for generations. A small fire is coaxed to life, flames rising slowly, spreading warmth across the hearth and surrounding stones. Water begins to heat quietly in heavy pots, tiny bubbles forming and fading in a soothing, meditative rhythm. Dough, soft and pliant from resting overnight, is kneaded gently, each fold and press deliberate, hands moving with quiet familiarity. Herbs are crushed softly between fingers, releasing delicate fragrances that mingle with the warm air, grounding the room and those who move within it. Young helpers move through the kitchen with gentle, quiet steps. One chops vegetables in steady, measured motions, the tap of the knife blending seamlessly with the low hum of simmering pots. Another arranges ingredients thoughtfully on wide wooden tables, each item placed exactly where it belongs. Each movement flows naturally into the next, forming a continuous, unhurried rhythm that fills the kitchen with calm, steady energy. Baskets of fresh ingredients arrive from storerooms and gardens. Leafy greens glistening with dew, earthy root vegetables, eggs handled with care, milk poured smoothly, grains measured precisely. Each item is incorporated at the perfect moment, becoming part of the slow, deliberate unfolding of the day. There is no rush, no urgency, only the patient, enduring rhythm that has guided these kitchens for centuries. Bread is shaped and left to rise near the window, catching the soft morning light. Stews and broths simmer gently, flavors deepening gradually. Meat is trimmed, seasoned, and cooked slowly, transformed through careful attention into nourishing meals. The room is filled with subtle, harmonious aromas. Earthy vegetables, faintly sweet bread, the soft perfume of herbs. Each scent blends into a cocoon of calm, comfort, and quiet familiarity. As morning stretches toward midday, the kitchen hums softly with steady, continuous activity. The head cook moves quietly among the stations, observing, guiding softly, intervening only when necessary. Knives tap lightly, wooden spoons scrape gently against pots, liquids murmur over low flames. Every motion flows seamlessly into the next, unhurried and deliberate, carrying the day forward in a gentle, reassuring pulse. Afternoon drifts in with soft, golden light. Fires burn steadily, filling the room with warmth, while subtle aromas of roasting meats, simmering stews, and tender vegetables mingle quietly. Preparations for the evening meal proceed methodically. Sauces stirred slowly, vegetables tended patiently, meats basted with gentle care. Each movement contributes to the unbroken rhythm of the kitchen, deliberate, soothing, and harmonious. Trays are assembled thoughtfully, each dish placed with care. Servants carry them quietly through the stone corridors to the dining halls, leaving the kitchen behind, calm and ready for the next cycle. Embers glow faintly beneath ash, steam rises lazily from remaining pots, and the lingering scents of herbs, bread, and cooked vegetables fill the air, comforting and familiar. Night deepens fully. Only a few figures linger, tending the last embers, checking the final pots. Shadows stretch along the walls. The warmth of the day lingers in stone and wood. Everything is exactly where it should be. The kitchen, patient and enduring, feels timeless, steady, and serene. And now, as you rest in this imagined space, allow your breath to match the gentle rhythm of the kitchen. Inhale slowly, exhale softly, in time with the quiet movements of hands kneading dough, stirring pots, and tending fires. Feel the warmth, the steady pulse, and the comforting continuity surrounding you, carrying you deeper into stillness, relaxation, and sleep. The embers glow softly. The stone walls hold warmth. The air is still and gentle. And here, in the patient, unhurried rhythm of the royal kitchens, you can drift fully into serenity, weightless, calm, and embraced by centuries of quiet, enduring care. The hours move on in their quiet way, almost unnoticed, as the kitchens continue their gentle cycle. Wooden shelves line the walls, holding jars of grain, dried beans, salt, and carefully tied bundles of herbs. Each jar has been lifted and returned thousands of times, the wood beneath them smoothed by touch. Nothing is hurried here. Even the shelves seem to wait patiently, knowing their moment will come again. Copper pots hang from hooks near the hearth, catching the firelight in a soft, muted glow. Their surfaces are worn and darkened from years of use, yet lovingly cared for. When one is lifted down, it is done with two hands, steady and practiced, as if greeting an old friend. A pot is filled, set over the fire, and left to warm slowly, never rushed. Time is an ingredient here, just as important as salt or water. As the day settles into its middle hours, the kitchens grow warmer, but never uncomfortable. High ceilings allow the heat to rise, and small windows are opened just enough to let fresh air drift through. Outside, the palace gardens move gently in the breeze. Inside, the rhythm continues, steady, calm, unbroken. A cook rinses rice in a wooden bowl, the water clouding briefly before being poured away. Another skems foam from the surface of a broth with a slow, careful motion, revealing clear liquid beneath. These small acts are done without thought, guided by muscle memory and quiet focus. No voices are raised. Instructions are given softly, often with a nod rather than words. In one corner, pastry dough rests beneath a cloth, protected from drafts. Nearby, fruit is sliced slowly, seeds removed with care, peels set aside for later use. Nothing is wasted. Scraps will become stock, peels will scent the air or feed the fire. Every part has a purpose, every step a place in the flow of the day. As seasons change, so too does the quiet character of the kitchen. In cooler months, fires burn a little longer, soups are thicker, and bread is baked more often. In warmer seasons, the windows stay open wider, herbs are used fresh from the garden, and meals are lighter. Yet the rhythm never breaks. Only the colors and scents shift gently, like the changing light outside. The head cook pauses occasionally, standing still for a moment, listening. Not for noise, but for balance. The sound of simmering, the pace of chopping, the warmth of the room. All are checked not with urgency, but with calm awareness. When something needs adjusting, it is done slowly, thoughtfully, without disturbing the atmosphere. As evening approaches again, the light through the windows turns soft and amber. Shadows lengthen across the stone floor. The work does not become faster. If anything, it becomes even more measured. Final dishes are finished with care. A pinch of seasoning here, a gentle stir there. Nothing dramatic, nothing sharp, just quiet completion. When the last trays are carried away, the kitchen exhales. Fires are banked, pots are cleaned and set aside, surfaces wiped with warm water and cloth. The tools return to their places, ready for tomorrow. The room grows quieter, warmer in its stillness. And now, as night settles once more, the royal kitchens rest. They do not sleep fully. Embers still glow, scents still linger, but they wait peacefully. Waiting has always been part of their nature. As you remain here in this calm, imagine the steady heartbeat of this place continuing without effort. Let your breathing slow, matching the gentle pace of hands that have worked here for centuries. Nothing asks anything of you now. There is nothing to remember, nothing to plan. The fires are low. The stones are warm. The air is soft and still. And in this quiet, timeless space, you can drift even deeper, carried gently by the unbroken rhythm of the royal kitchens, easing softly into rest, and then into sleep. The night deepens further, and with it comes a particular kind of stillness that only old places know. The royal kitchens, now dim and quiet, seem to listen to themselves. The stone walls hold stories, not loudly, but gently, as if they are breathing memories into the darkness. Every surface, every beam and hook and table, carries the calm echo of countless days just like this one. A single lantern remains lit near the hearth, its flame small and steady. It casts a soft circle of light on the floor, revealing the smoothness worn into the stone by generations of footsteps. Even without movement, the room feels alive. Not busy, not active, but present. As though the kitchens themselves are resting, aware that dawn will come again in its own time. Somewhere beyond the walls, the palace sleeps. But here, in this quiet heart of daily life, there is a gentle watchfulness. Large pots sit empty now, lids slightly ajar, allowing the last warmth to drift away slowly. Wooden spoons rest across their rims, exactly where they were left, trusted to be there again in the morning. The scent in the air has softened. What was once rich and full has mellowed into something faint and comforting: warm stone, old wood, a trace of herbs. It is the kind of smell that feels like home, even to someone who has never been here before. It asks nothing, demands nothing. It simply exists. Time stretches comfortably here. Minutes lose their edges. Hours move like slow clouds across a moonlit sky. There is no clock ticking loudly, no signal pulling attention forward. The kitchens have always followed the body sense of time. The warmth of the fire, the angle of light, the quiet hunger before a meal that ends centuries past. Someone might have paused here before leaving for the night, standing still just like this, breathing in the calm. Perhaps a cook resting tired hands on the edge of a table. Perhaps a helper glancing once more at the embers to be sure they were safe. Those moments linger, not as images, but as feelings, gentle, unhurried, complete. Outside, the night air cools the stones slowly. Inside, warmth fades at its own pace. Nothing is forced. Everything is allowed to end naturally. This is how the kitchens teach rest. Not by stopping suddenly, but by easing into stillness. And as you remain here, let your own thoughts soften in the same way. Let them drift, like steam rising from a pot long after the fire has been lowered. You don't need to hold on to them. They will fade on their own. Your breathing can slow now, becoming shallow and easy. In and out, like the steady glow of embers brightening and dimming. There is no effort in it, just a gentle rhythm, carrying you further away from the day. The lantern flickers once, then steadies again. Shadows rest comfortably in their corners. The royal kitchens are calm, content, and complete. And here, wrapped in this quiet, timeless space, you can let yourself drift fully into sleep, softly, peacefully, knowing that when morning comes, the rhythm will begin again, just as gently as it always has. The quiet stretches on, unbroken and kind. Even the lantern's glow seems to slow, its light resting gently against the stone as if it, too, has grown sleepy. In this stillness, the royal kitchens feel less like a room and more like a living memory. One that does not demand attention, only presence. Somewhere above, the wooden beams settle with a soft sound, adjusting to the cooling night. It is a familiar sound here, one that has repeated itself across centuries. No one startles at it. It belongs. Just as the faint whisper of air slipping through a narrow window belongs. Just as the calm weight of silence belongs. Long ago, before written menus or measured time, these kitchens learned how to listen. They listened to the fire, to the weather, to the seasons. They listened to hunger and satisfaction. And in doing so, they learned patience. That patience still lingers, folded into every stone and surface, waiting quietly for anyone who steps inside. If you imagine walking slowly across the floor now, your footsteps would barely echo. The space would receive you gently. You might pause beside the hearth, feeling the last warmth rising from the stones. You might rest your hand on a table smoothed by countless meals prepared with care. Nothing here would rush you along. In the stillness, it becomes clear that the true work of the kitchens was never just feeding royalty. It was sustaining rhythm, day after day, season after season, meal after meal, a steady offering of nourishment and normalcy, even when the world beyond the walls changed. That rhythm is still here, moving quietly beneath the surface. It does not end at night. It simply slows, waiting in calm assurance for morning. Just as your own body knows how to rest now, without instruction, without effort. Let your shoulders sink a little more. Let the weight of the day ease away. There is nothing left to do. No thought that needs finishing. No moment that needs holding on to. The air is soft. The space is safe. The night is patient. And as the royal kitchens remain here, timeless, steady, and at peace, you can drift even deeper, floating gently on the same quiet rhythm that has carried so many through rest before you. Slowly, softly, into sleep, the silence deepens, not in a heavy way, but like a soft blanket settling gently over everything. The royal kitchens remain exactly as they are, content in their stillness. Nothing shifts unless it needs to. Nothing calls for attention. The space simply exists, breathing slowly, evenly. Moonlight slips faintly through the high windows now, tracing pale lines across the stone floor. It glides over the edges of tables, the curves of pots, the handles of well-worn tools. In this light, everything appears gentler, smoother, as though time itself has softened the room. The kitchens seem less like a place of work and more like a quiet companion, keeping watch through the night. There is comfort in knowing how familiar this place is with rest. For centuries, it has followed this same pattern. Activity easing into calm, warmth fading into cool, sound dissolving into silence. Nothing here resists the night. Everything welcomes it. If you linger a little longer, you may notice how the air feels different now. Cooler, yes, but also lighter. The scents have faded into something almost invisible, yet still reassuring. Stone, wood, a hint of ash. The kind of air that feels easy to breathe, asking nothing of your body except to slow. The benches along the walls seem inviting, polished smooth by years of quiet pauses. One can imagine someone sitting there long ago, eyes heavy after a long day, simply listening to the fire and letting the stillness do its work. Those moments remain, not as memories, but as an atmosphere, a permission to rest. And you are welcome here in the same way. There is no role for you to fill, no task waiting. You are simply present, and that is enough. The lantern's flame grows smaller, steady and calm. Shadows no longer stretch or move. They have found their places and settled in. The kitchens feel complete, whole, exactly as they should be. As your breathing continues to slow, it may begin to feel almost effortless. Each breath arrives gently, leaves gently. There is no need to guide it. The rhythm has already found you. Thoughts, if they appear, drift through like soft echoes and then fade. There is nothing to hold on to, nothing to solve. Just this quiet moment, stretching comfortably on and on. The royal kitchens remain, patient and enduring, holding their calm through the night. And as they rest, you can rest too, floating deeper into that gentle stillness, letting sleep arrive naturally, quietly, and completely. The stillness stays with you, steady and reassuring, as though it has always been here, waiting quietly for this moment. The royal kitchens do not fade away. They simply soften further, their edges growing gentle, their presence calm and constant. Even time seems to slow its pace, stretching out comfortably, with no beginning and no end that needs noticing. The stone floor holds a faint memory of warmth, not enough to heat the room, but enough to comfort it. The walls feel solid and protective, as if they have learned, over centuries, how to shelter calm itself. Nothing intrudes here. Nothing startles or disturbs. The night is kind. Somewhere deep within the hearth, a single ember shifts softly, glowing for a moment before settling again. It does not flare or crackle. It simply exists, quietly alive, reminding the room that warmth never truly disappears. It only rests. If you listen closely, there may be a sound so soft it is almost imagined. The gentle settling of old wood, the quiet sigh of cooling stone. These sounds are not interruptions. They are part of the lullaby this place has always sung, low and constant, meant only to soothe. The kitchens have witnessed countless lives pass through them. Hands young and old, mornings full and nights quiet like this one. Yet they hold no tension, no lingering urgency. They have learned the art of letting go at the end of each day, trusting that tomorrow will arrive when it is ready. And just like that, your own body can trust the night now. Muscles loosen without effort. The space behind your eyes feels soft and distant. Awareness becomes lighter, drifting rather than focusing. The moonlight shifts slowly across the floor, though you do not need to follow it. Everything important is already settled. The benches rest. The tables wait. The tools sleep where they belong. In this place, rest is not something earned. It is simply allowed. Breath flows in and out, smooth and even, like the quiet rise and fall of warmth from the hearth. Each breath carries you a little further away from wakefulness, a little deeper into comfort. The royal kitchens remain here, timeless and calm, holding the night gently in their wide, patient space. And as they continue their quiet watch, you can drift freely downward, inward, into a deep and peaceful sleep, wrapped in silence, warmth, and the enduring rhythm of rest. The night has fully settled now, and the royal kitchens rest in complete harmony with it. Nothing stirs. Nothing waits. The space feels finished in the most peaceful way, as if every moment has arrived exactly where it belongs. The last ember has dimmed to a quiet glow, barely visible, yet still comforting. Stone walls hold the cool of night with ease, balanced by the memory of warmth from the day. The air is calm and steady, neither heavy nor empty, simply present. If this place could speak, it would not use words. It would offer only this feeling of enoughness. Enough work done. Enough care given. Enough time passed. Nothing more is required. And here, within that calm, your awareness can soften completely. Thoughts fade like distant echoes. The sense of place grows gentle and distant, as though you are drifting just beyond it, carried by the same rhythm that has guided these kitchens for centuries. Breathing becomes slow and natural, in and out, without effort, without intention. The kitchens remain, timeless and patient, continuing their quiet watch through the night. And you no longer need to stay awake with them. It is safe now to let go, to drift, to rest. And as the silence deepens and the world grows softer still, sleep arrives gently, like the closing of a door that has always known exactly when to shut. Good night.